to have the ability to handle that situation, go to AAA, kind of humble him a little bit, and then just having the mindset, okay, what do I need to do to get back there, because he had two routes, he could pout and, not do much, or say, you know what, I got to get back out there. So, and, like I said, to his credit. So, yeah, it's a mental grind. It's not easy to go through, especially when you're only 23 years old. And, facing adversity is part of life, is part of this game. And I'm just proud of him.
Pete Alonso, how's the hand and how severe is his issue right now?
No, he's fine. I mean, he's obviously going to feel it at times, but he's good enough to be in the lineup to continue to be out there and help us win baseball games. So, something that he's going to continue to get treatment, but he's in there.
Speaking of somebody that's in there that's not been in there a lot, Mike Trout is actually healthy for the Angels, knock on wood for baseball. But that's a problem for a team facing him. What is Mike Trout and the Angels, what kind of challenge do they pose?
Yeah, look, man, when he's healthy, it's just great for the game when he's on the field. Yeah, you don't want to face him, but like I said, it's good for baseball, for the fan, for the show. But that's a team that, they've been around 500 pretty much a whole year. They got some guys that can hit the ball out of the ballpark. They got guys there that they got some swing and miss. But, there's a combination there at the top with Neto and Schwanel, that put the ball in play, young hitters. And then you got some of the guys, Trout and Warren, Adele, they're having some offensive numbers there with the homers. We just got to be ready to go.
Kodai Senga, I know you want him to go 100 pitches, complete game shutout, but what is the limit for him today?
I don't know about the limit. I'll take complete game 85 pitches. How about that?
Thanks, Carlos.
You got it.
That was Mets manager Carlos Mendoza along with Keith Radd on the Manager Show, presented by Invesco QQQ, the official ETF of the New York Mets. Who knows? Maybe we won't be talking about a Maddox at the end of the night, but maybe we'll be talking about a Senga if Kodai is able to work through a pitch count limit that he might be on and throw a complete game. He'll be throwing to Francisco Alvarez. We'll hear from him along with David Stearns on the leadoff spot. Joe Torre made a little bit of history, not in the good way, on this date in Mets history, plus some scores from around the league. That's all coming up next when we return to Citi Field on the Odyssey Mets pregame show. But first, let's check traffic.
I'm Greg Rice with the Rothenberg Law Firm Mets pregame traffic report. Go to injurylawyer.com. The 7 trains are running again. They have very severe delays in Queens following an earlier suspension between Queensboro Plaza and Flushing Main Street. But the 7 trains are running again. LIRR Port Washington branch, that too is on or close to schedule. Queens bound to Whitestone Bridge are going to hit the brakes out of the Bronx, and then it stays slow all the way down to Citi Field. Grand Central's a mess either way. And the Queens-bound side of the RFK Bridge, a bit of a mess. Long Island Expressway eastbound, the worst of it from the BQE over towards the Grand Central and Van Wyck. Out of Nassau, the LIE slows down from Glen Cove Road all the way back towards Utopia Parkway. Let's go Mets.
And we're back talking all things connectivity with Spectrum customers Kev and Melissa. So tell us, how long have you been with Spectrum, and how important is a reliable internet connection?
We've been Spectrum customers since we moved 12 years ago. The first thing we did is sign up for Spectrum Internet. Yes, we need that. We had Spectrum Wi-Fi before our couch got here.
That's true. That's a true story.
I'll sleep on the floor, but I won't go to bed with no internet.
You heard it here. Switch to Spectrum now.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduce stroke risk better than warfarin.
Five-man umpiring crew here today in this young superstar.
And did their feet get tangled up? Yes, so Hoppy Tritt, they got their feet tangled up before the ball came down.
That goes helicoptering into the net. It's Panto.
And that ball is off the ladder. It's actually off the ladder. You never see that.
A little tumble behind the mound, hat fell off. That was awesome. I mean, you just don't see that.
Sometimes artifacts in the collection at the Hall of Fame can tell multiple stories. This is the earliest known Yankees baseball cap in existence. It tells the story of a very early baseball cap and of a guy who just had a cup of coffee in the big leagues. But there's actually a hidden story inside this cap. There's another name written in the cap. So who's Dolan?
And in his first game back at Candlestick Park, just as he had in his first game at Shea after the deal, he hit a home run. And career home run number 650 proved to be the difference in a 3-1 Mets win. Tug McGraw struck out Fran Healy and Bobby Bonds with a runner on second in the ninth to close it out. On this date in 1975, Joe Torre set a major league record when he grounded into 4 double plays in a 6-2 loss to the Astros. He has jokingly blamed Felix Millan over the years as Millan went 4 for 4, batting in front of Torre that night and was erased at second each time. Should the Diamondbacks decide to be sellers at the deadline, third baseman Eugenio Suarez certainly has to be an enticing target.
As the 1-2, there's a swing and a drive. Way back to left. Suarez does it once again. He is inevitable in this Diamondback lineup. And Suarez goes after this pitch. It's another bomb to left, and it's on its way, and it's gone! A wall scraper into the bullpen, and Suarez's magical second half continues. Men on fire.
2 home runs for Suarez in back-to-back games over the weekend gave that Arizona third baseman the National League lead with 35. But 4 straight wins has moved the D-backs back to the 500 mark. So will Suarez be on the trading block? The Cubs and the Yankees and others reportedly would like to know. Chris Garagiola had the home run calls on the Diamondbacks radio network. On the schedule tonight, the Phillies host the Red Sox with Zach Wheeler against Walker Buehler. The Phils start the night a half game ahead of the Mets in the East. The Yankees are 3 games back of the Blue Jays going into tonight's game at Toronto. Carlos Rodon against Kevin Gausman. The Cubs and Brewers are now tied for the lead in the National League Central. The Cubs are home at Wrigley against the Royals. The Brewers take their 10-game win streak to Seattle to take on the Mariners. Well, Francisco Alvarez is back from AAA. He is in the lineup and catching tonight. We will hear from Alvy on the other side, along with Mets President of Baseball Operations, David Stearns, on the leadoff spot. That's next when we return to Queens on Odyssey Mets Radio.
We could tell you what it's like to drive the Nissan Rogue and tell you all about its performance capabilities, like its VC turbo engine, its impressive fuel economy. Still going. It's I can go virtually anywhere type of freedom. Nice. But you don't have to take our word for it. Go drive it for yourself. You're up. Experience the power of the Nissan Rogue.
Drive the Nissan Rogue. Now get 0% APR financing for 60 months on the 2025 Nissan Rogue. Visit your local Nissan store and nissanusa.com today.
For well-qualified buyers, excludes S-Trim. Example 0 down payment. 60 months financing at $16.67 per month per thousand financed. Actual down payment may vary. Subject to Nissan Motor Acceptance Corporation credit approval. Not all buyers qualify. Dealer contribution may affect actual price set by dealer. Contact dealer for details. Ends 8/4/25.
What separates you from world-class joint surgery isn't a bridge or a tunnel. You don't have to travel far to get the best treatment. At RWJ Barnabas Health, you can stay in New Jersey, close to home, and be treated by the same doctors who treat professional athletes and who designed the surgical implants that are now used around the world. Orthopedic care. Do it right. Here. RWJ Barnabas Health. Learn more at rwjbh.org/ortho.
This summer, Pluto TV is exploding with free movies. They've got an all-star lineup streaming for free. Gladiator, Beverly Hills Cop 1, 2, and 3. The first 4 Mission Impossible movies. The first 4 Indiana Jones movies. Star Trek Beyond, Good Burger, Stealth, and 4 Brothers. Plus thousands of other movies. All totally free. Pluto TV is hitting a grand slam with their Summer of Cinema. Stream now. Pay never.
Now is the perfect time to get a Peerless Boiler. Don't wait. Go to peerlessboilers.com for more information and an installer near you. And remember, Peerless Boilers, the world's best built boilers.
What's up, Mets fans? This is Francisco Lindor. You're listening to the New York Mets baseball on 880 and the Odyssey app.
Welcome back to the Odyssey Mets pregame. Home runs against LA. A reminder, for every strikeout by Mets pitchers this season, the Odyssey Mets Radio Network will donate $25 to Cars for Kids charity. We're donating. You can too. Donate your car, boat, or real estate at carsforkids.com today. One final break. We'll wrap up the Odyssey Mets pregame show right after this on Odyssey Mets Radio.
Think a new central air conditioning system is out of your budget? Think again. Sloman's is here to change the game with sizzling summer savings. They're offering cutting-edge 18-SEER 2025 refrigerant-compliant R454B systems expertly installed by their certified technicians, all at the lowest prices of the year. That's right. Get started with 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for 18 months. Every new installation comes with a comprehensive 5-year all-inclusive service plan, including annual system checks, filter replacement, and refrigerant to keep your AC running smoothly all summer long. Stay cool and worry-free this summer. Don't miss out. Call Sloman's today at 516-932-7000 for your free AC estimate. But hurry, these cool savings won't last. Call 516-932-7000. That's 516-932-7000. Subject to credit approval. Terms and conditions apply.
You want to get the most for your money. That's why more Mazda buyers choose Ramsey Mazda for selection, customer service, and savings. During the Mazda More to Move You sales event, lease a new 2025 Mazda CX-90 Preferred Plug-in Hybrid for $159 for 24 months. Start shopping now at RamseyMazda.com. Choose wisely. Choose Ramsey Mazda.
Call 833-853-2970 for details. Excludes tax, title, and registration. Zero security deposit. VIN S1235648. MSRP $52,870 and $731.25.
In today's evolving market, shaped by private equity and mega mergers, choosing the right accounting firm is more crucial than ever. At Anshin, a partner-owned firm since 1923, we take the time to understand your unique circumstances to develop innovative tax and accounting solutions tailored to meet your goals. If you're a high net worth individual or business owner eager for a winning game plan, let Anshin deliver value where others can't. Visit ANCHIN.com. Anshin Accountants and Advisors, helping you recalculate what's possible.
Looking for affordable, compassionate care for your pet or want to help pets in need? Look no further than Astoria Animal Society. Astoria Animal Society is a nonprofit clinic with over 15 years of experience who offer low-cost surgeries, stress-free visits, and the lowest prices in Queens. Book your appointment today and visit them at 3089 38th Street in Astoria or go to AstoriaAnimals.com to donate and help save an animal's life. That's ASTORIAANIMALS.com.
Fast starts, big wins. The season is in full swing, and so are the savings at Route 4 Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Paramus. We are fully stocked on all your favorites, like the new 2025 Jeep Grand Cherokee, now just $334 a month. Plus, don't miss available no money down on every vehicle. No money down. Now that's truly amazing. Now during employee pricing plus, visit ParamusJeep.com.
4 is always less for Ford Paramus.
5524 due at signing. Available with approved credit. See dealer for details.
Welcome back as we wrap up the Odyssey Mets pregame show as we get set for Game 1 of 3 between the Mets and the Angels. Tonight's player to bank on is brought to you by California Cryo Bank. Build your family with the #1 sperm bank in the world. And tonight, because he is back, we bank on Francisco Alvarez, who was tearing it up in AAA over 21 games with 11 home runs. That'll do it for the Odyssey Mets pregame show. On the other side, we join Keith Redd and the Hall of Fame radio voice of the New York Mets, Howie Rose, for lineups and first pitch between the Mets and Angels. Enjoy the ballgame, folks. This is Odyssey Mets Radio.
This has been the Odyssey Mets pregame show, brought to you by Spectrum. Get fast and reliable speeds on the network that moves with you. Spectrum, RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together. Visit rwjbh.org. Margaret Tietz Nursing and Rehabilitation Center. Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. Roto-Rooter. Leave plumbing to the pros at Roto-Rooter. Route 4 Hyundai in Paramus, New Jersey. Invesco QQQ, the official ETF of the New York Mets. Invesco Distributors, Inc. Westbury Toyota, #1 in the tri-state and proud broadcast sponsor of Odyssey Mets Radio. Peerless Boilers. Visit peerlessboilers.com for a dealer near you. And by ELEC 825, building our future. This is Odyssey Mets Radio.
When it comes to protecting homes, shortcuts fail. It's why pros have trusted AZEK Exterior Trim and Siding, the MVP of exterior protection for 25 years. Built to last and proven in the toughest Northeast weather conditions, AZEK doesn't just look good, it performs under pressure. Cheap, overseas-made imitators? They might look similar until they fail. And the builder's reputations and homeowner's wallet take the hit. Trim matters, so don't cut corners. Do it right. Use AZEK Trim, made in America. Visit azekexteriors.com.
Taking it.
Well, if you look at the infield, they just came out and put, Diamond Dry everywhere except where McKinstry needed it right here.
Wonder when he realized he broke his chain. With an all-star bonus, he can get a new one.
I don't know what is causing this, but we have seen more bats leave players' hands at the plate this year than I'll ever remember.
Line shot. Got a chance. They counted it, though. They did.
Distributors, Inc. The New York Lottery. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY. Bigelow Tea. Grab a mug and tea proudly. The Rothenberg Law Firm. InjuryLawyer.com. Cadillac and your tri-state Cadillac dealers. Cadillac is the official luxury vehicle of the New York Mets. Thrivewell Infusion, the official IV partner of Mets Radio. Veg, ER for Pets, official emergency veterinarian group of Mets Radio. Optimum Fiber, don't take slow for an answer. The Chef IQ scents, never under or overcook your chicken, fish, or meat again. Buy yours today at chefiq.com. Cars for Kids. Call 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS. That's cars with a K. To donate your car today. And by Sloman's. The difference is human.
From Citi Field in Flushing, Queens, welcome to New York Mets baseball. Tonight, the Mets face the Los Angeles Angels. In the opener of a 3-game series, the starting pitchers for the Angels, the veteran left-hander Tyler Anderson, and for the Mets, right-hander Kodai Senga. Hi again, everyone. I'm Howie Rose along with Keith Radd. The Mets salvage the finale of their series with the Cincinnati Reds, winning 3-2 yesterday, and with the Phillies having lost their game to the Angels in Philadelphia yesterday afternoon. The Mets start play tonight, just a half game behind first place Philly in the National League East. The Mets are at 56-44. The Phillies, by the way, are home tonight against the Boston Red Sox. They'll have Zach Wheeler on the mound against Walker Buehler for Boston. Meanwhile, the Angels, they're in the conversation. They are a game under 500 at 49-50. That sits them fourth in the American League West, 8 games behind first place Houston, but they are just 4 games out of a wild card spot. Our game time temperature is brought to you by Peerless Boilers. Visit peerlessboilers.com for information and a dealer near you. And remember, Peerless Boilers, the world's best built boilers. 82 degrees, partly cloudy skies at game time, and we'll come back to look at the pitching matchup next on Odyssey Mets Radio, powered by the all-new Nissan Murano.
Let's get moving with Centers Healthcare. Centers Healthcare has a different approach to care. Here, you rehab, relax, recover, and go home. Our state-of-the-art technology empowers your rehab journey with us. Healing from surgery now comes with amenities like Starbucks, smart TVs, and personalized recreation. At Centers Healthcare, what matters most is getting you back to the life you had. Visit centershealthcare.com today or call us at 800-305-9151. Centers Healthcare. We're not just care. We are care that moves you.
Want to be a real MVP? At California Cryobank, we're looking for some amazing guys to make a big difference. Help people's dreams of parenthood come true and earn up to $2,400 a month.
I can't imagine transitioning from loving baseball cards to then knowing it's inevitably coming that you're going to be on baseball cards. What was that moment like for you?
Yeah, I think the first card I saw was when they did something for USA Baseball, and then now seeing my face, seeing me playing baseball on a card, it was surreal. It wasn't that it was that moment where like, wow, this is really something.
There's the bunt. That could be trouble as Petrie. No, Stevie dives in and beats it. Good effort by Steve Lyons.
And that'll be a base hit right there. Good job. I'll tell you one thing, not a bad defensive play either by the Tigers.
Did you see that? Mm-hmm. He's going to get the dirt out, and all of a sudden he unbuckled his pants and they fell down.
I'm going to go check out Food Truck Row. So, what did you guys get today?
Philly cheesesteaks.
Both of you got the same thing. Are they that good?
Oh, yeah.
Got a hot dog and some fries.
Just kind of basic ballpark.
Chicken bacon sandwich.
Uh-huh.
Philly cheesesteak.
Okay.
And some
crinkle cut fries.
Okay, where are you guys from?
We're from Dallas.
Dallas. That's what's fun about baseball. It brings different regions together, not just the ball and glove and bat, but what we're eating.
First base, high throw from Pete Alonso. Next thing you know, he was on the IL and missed about a month of time. But Senga, 67 pitches last time out. He'll probably go in the 80-85 range tonight, which is good because the Mets truly need somebody to not only pitch well, but pitch deep into these games. Meanwhile, Tyler Anderson, 35 years old in his 10th Major League season. He's been with Colorado, the Giants, the Pirates, the Mariners, the Dodgers. His third year and maybe his final year in L.A., third of a 3-year, $39 million deal. This will be his 20th start. He's pitched to a 4.34 ERA. Soft tossing lefty, fastball, that soft changeup, and a little cutter. And a very simple arsenal for Anderson, but it's worked for him for a decade now. That is tonight's pitching matchup, sponsored by Ridgewood Savings Bank, multiplying the good for over 100 years. Starting lineups and first pitch coming up on Odyssey Mets Radio, powered by the all-new Nissan Murano.
When you're ready to replace windows in your home with Marvin Windows and Doors, the team at Riverhead Building Supply can help.
We know that the installation process can seem scary, but we'll put your mind at ease as we guide you through each step from selecting your new Marvin Windows and Doors to installing them in your home.
To learn more about Marvin Windows,
So without further ado, snap on your time goggles and prepare to zoom 1,000 years into the future. The D-backs are still the D-backs, though now they're represented by a robotic techno-snake, and the Cubs have embraced their future amongst the stars, now being represented by Ursa Major. Minneapolis was the first to establish relations with our extraterrestrial friends. The Rays are the cosmic rays flying through space in their devil ray-shaped spacecraft.
Fourth place in the American League West. It is being headed up right now by Houston. Zach Neto leads off for the Angels. He's the shortstop. Nolan Shonowell, the first baseman, bats second. Mike Trout playing in a series against the Mets for the first time since 2017. He'll DH and bat third. The left fielder Taylor Ward hits fourth. Joe Adell in center field having a breakout season. He bats fifth. Yoan Moncada, the third baseman, bats sixth. Long Island native Logan O'Hoppe, he'll bat seventh. Do the catching. Right fielder Lamont Wade Jr. bats eighth. And Luis Rengifo, the second baseman, rounds out the lineup, batting ninth for the Angels. Tyler Anderson on the mound for Los Angeles. Once again, they have Neto at short, Shonowell at first, Trout the DH, Ward in left, Adell in center, Moncada at third, O'Hoppe catching, Wade Jr. in right, Rengifo at second base. Now it is Ray Montgomery who is the interim manager of the Angels. Remember, Ron Washington took a leave of absence from the team, a medical leave of absence. So it is Ray Montgomery, a Fordham guy, running things for the Angels. Now for the Mets, who are 56-44, a half game behind Philadelphia, second place in the NL East. Left fielder Brandon Nimmo leads off, followed by the shortstop Francisco Lindor. Juan Soto in right field, bats third. First baseman Pete Alonso is the Mets cleanup hitter, presented by ServPro. Cleanup, restoration, construction, like it never even happened. Jeff McNeil bats behind him. He's in the 5 spot playing center field. Mark Vientos bats sixth. He's the designated hitter. Then it's third baseman Brett Beatty batting seventh. The return of Francisco Alvarez batting eighth, doing the catching. And the 9-man second baseman Luis Angel Acuna, with Kodai Senga taking the mound. Senga and the Mets have just run out onto the field from that first base dugout. Kodai this year, 14 starts, 7-3 with a microscopic 1.39 ERA. And of course, if he had more starts and more innings under his belt, that would easily be the best ERA in the game. But of course, just 14 starts, sidelined with that hamstring injury for about a month. One more time for the Mets. Nimmo in left, Lindor at short, Soto in right, Alonso at first, McNeil in center, Vientos DHing, Beatty at third, Alvarez catching, Acuna at second base. The Mets are wearing their City Connect uniforms. They wore them yesterday and they won in them, and Kodai Senga seems to not like the pinstripe uniform and everything else. But so he has chosen those City Connect uniforms that are, of course, that graphite gray, a little hint of that 7-train purple, and NYC written in big black letters across the chest. Meanwhile, for the Angels, they're wearing the alternate uniforms, the road gray pants, but the bright red jersey top. Zach Neto ready to hit. Bright red socks going up to his knees, down to his white cleats, and that red helmet with the Angels A and a little halo going around the center of that A. Again, for the Mets, this is a homestand that wraps up here after Cincinnati was here for 2 out of 3. So one red team to another in a sense. For the Angels, were the best friends of the Mets down in Philly. Of course, hoping not to be their best friends this weekend. Big start for Kodai Senga in his return to the mound. The return to the microphone for the Hall of Fame radio voice of the New York Mets. Here's Howie Rose.
All right, Keith, thank you very much. Game number 101 for the Mets and number 100 for the Angels. And the shortstop, Zach Neto, will lead off. Spells his last name Neto. A terrific 24-year-old out of Miami. Former first-round pick of the Angels 3 years ago. Senga ready to work to him. Neto on an 8-game hitting streak. And the first pitch swung on and missed, 0-1, as Senga starts him off with a cutter. Zach Neto is batting .281. with 15 homers, 35 runs batted in. And the 0-1 on the way. Breaking ball. That's in for a called strike. And it's 0-2. He is an outstanding defender at shortstop. He can run and steal bases. Missed a little time this year with a shoulder injury at the start of the season. But he's a good one. The 0-2 in the dirt with a fork ball. And the count 1 ball and 2 strikes on Neto, with Nolan Schanuel and Mike Trout to follow here in this first inning. First of 3 between these teams tomorrow night and then Wednesday afternoon, after which the Mets will head out to a road trip. 1-2. The pitch to Neto. In the dirt again, another fork ball, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Senga, if he had enough innings to qualify, would be leading the world in ERA. His earned run average just 1.39. He has given up 3 runs or fewer in 31 straight games that he started. 2-2 the count. And now time called at home plate. Only Jacob deGrom has had a stretch of more games, having gone 3 runs or fewer than Kodai Senga. He's just the second Mets pitcher in history to reel off a streak like that. So 2-2. Now the pitch. And that's in the dirt again. 3 balls and 2 strikes. That one looked a little harder, and yeah, that was considered a fastball. So he's throwing a little bit of everything here. Cutter, forkball, slider, conventional fastball. But he's run it full. So 3-2 to Zach Neto. And Senga deals. Swing on a foul that can't be held by Alvarez. That one nicked him, and Alvarez gets a little pat on the back of encouragement from home plate ump Mike Estabrook, who can feel the pain. And, you know, never mind the Alvarez angle, but if a Mets catcher ever needed a day off, it's Luis Torrens. He was getting beaten up back there over the weekend against the Reds. It's 3-2 to Zach Neto. Here's the pitch. Swing on a bouncing ball foul down the third baseline past Coach Bo Porter. Eric Young Sr. is on the coaching lines at first. And again, our best wishes to the manager of the Los Angeles Angels, Ron Washington, who is out after having a heart procedure. Here's the payoff pitch. Check swing. Did he go around? No, he did not. It's ball 4. So Senga went with a forkball, and Neto just laid off. And the Angels get the leadoff man on here in the first inning. So it's the Fordham guy, Ray Montgomery, who is running the Angels on an interim basis. No music? I was waiting.
We had heard that Fordham music play, what was it, 2 days ago when Nick Martinez was pitching for Cincinnati.
It's early. Here's Schanuel, left-hand batter, and he takes down and in from Senga, cutter for ball 1.
Apparently Montgomery grew up a big Mets fan, so maybe deep in his childhood heart today. He's got his allegiances elsewhere, but of course I'm just kidding. He's obviously going to do everything he can to win these games for the Angels.
Want to know the count? Yeah, he's trying to make an impression to maybe keep the job permanently, such as anybody can be a permanent manager. Schanuel takes in the dirt, no swing, and the count 2 balls and no strikes.
Senga keeps missing just down in the dirt. It feels very mechanical. It's either been the forkball, the cutter, the fastball. Everything's ending up in the same area right in front of or on top of home plate right now.
This will be interesting to track because Senga has a propensity for figuring these things out. The 2-0 on the way, down and in with a fastball, 3-0. So clearly something's off here with Senga. But it's no cause for alarm yet because we've seen him struggle through an entire inning where he just can't seem to figure it out, gets the 3 outs regardless of whether runs score or not, and then goes in, checks the iPad, talks to pitching coach Jeremy Hefner, and the next thing you know, he's lights out. Well, that's the hope, but he's struggling early here. 3-0 to Shenuel with a runner at first. No out. Here's the pitch, and it's a fastball in for a called strike. So 3-1. Shenuel was drafted 11th overall just a couple of years ago, and he is one of 4 and make it 5 straight hitters in the Angels lineup, all first-round picks. 3-1 coming in on the ground up the middle to his left. Lindor. He's got it. Backhand flip to second. 1. Acuna to first. They doubled him up. What an acrobatic double play turned by Lindor. Acuna, who made a strong throw to Alonso. They double up Shenuel, and just like that, 2 out, nobody on. That was a thing of beauty.
Couldn't believe that even Acuna got to the bag ahead of Neto sliding in and then had the body control to turn and throw to first base. And you know who loves that? Kodai Senga, who just saw the replay on the big video board City Vision and put his hand into his glove clapping.
Challenging the outcall at first base.
Well, apparently the Angels saw something a little different because they're challenging the play at first base, and we just got our first look. It's certainly bang bang and extremely close, and wait to see another angle or two to get a feel for whether we can get a more definitive handle on it.
Now Shadowell's right foot might have hit the bag as the ball was making its way into the glove. And you can even see Pete's reaction in real time. His face didn't quite know whether or not they got him. Here's a good slow-mo.
He's going to be safe.
I think he is going to be safe here, Howie.
At first base. The call's been overturned. The runner is safe. Los Angeles retains the challenge.
Well, it was close to being one of the great defensive plays of the season.
Well, it's 1 out instead of 2, but we'll see if that settles Senga down a little bit, because now he's got to go after Mike Trout. First meeting between Senga and Trout in a major league game. And the first pitch is a breaking ball in for a called strike, 0-1. So he starts Trout off with a curve. Mike Trout missed 26 games earlier this year with a knee contusion. This guy has been one of the greats of the game, but he's had trouble staying on the field. The 0-1 waved at him, missed a forkball, and it's 0-2 to the 3-time American League MVP Trout, who's been swinging the bat well lately on a 6-game hitting streak. He is 2 RBIs away from 1,000 lifetime, 5 homers away from 400 lifetime. 5 more years on his big contract, too. The 0-2. Check swing, did he go? No, on appeal to first. And it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. The umpire is brought to you by RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together. Visit rwjbh.org. Mike Estabrook has the plate. Crew chief Laz Diaz at first. Eric Backus at second. Brian Onora, the umpire, at third. 1 on, 1 out. Just getting started. No score. The 1-2 to Trout. Swung on and missed strike 3. He got him with a forkball. So Trout down on strikes. First strikeout for Senga. And that is brought to you by Weichert Realtors. Don't settle for a good agent. Go for a great one at Weichert.com.
Oh, you were right about maybe Senga getting back on track after getting that Shadowell ground ball, because those forkballs, and he threw 3 of them to Trout, looked really, really good. Good late bite down.
Well, here's Taylor Ward, and he's having a solid year in the power department. First pitch to the right-hand batter, taken low, ball 1. Ward batting just .231, but he has 23 homers, 5th best in the American League, 4th in the league in runs batted in with 73. 10 years ago, he was a first-round pick. 1-0 the count. Now the pitch. Swing and a miss, could not hold up, and a back pick to first, not in time to nail Shenuel. But the slider fooled Ward, and the count 1-1. Mets defense brought to you by Orland & Cohen Orthopedic Group. Experiencing orthopedic pain, they've got specialists for that. Alonso at first, Acuna at second, Lindor at short, Beatty at third, Nimmo, McNeil, Soto left to right in the outfield, and welcome back Francisco Alvarez doing the catching. 1-1 to Ward. Now Senga deals. Outside, looked like a fork ball in the dirt. Nice backhand stop by Alvarez. And the count 2-1. And the defense of Francisco Alvarez, just the overall receiving, particularly blocking, even more so than framing, was one of the most important projects for him while he was at Syracuse. 2-1 on the way. Take it outside, a slider. 3 balls and 1 strike. But David Stearns was talking before the game about how thrilled he was at the way Alvarez accepted the demotion, whether he expected it or not, and then really ran with it. I'll tell you about that after this 3-1, and it's nubbed out in front of the plate. Shedding the mask, Alvarez. He fires to first in time. Side retired. We'll pick up that Alvarez story a little bit later on. But Ward taps out 2-3, and the Angels are done in the first. Leadoff walk, nothing more. Middle of the first.
It's a 5-man umpiring crew here today in this young superstar.
And did their feet get tangled up? Yes, so Hoppy Tritt, they got their feet tangled up before the ball came down.
That goes helicoptering into the net. It's prime time.
And that ball is off the ladder. It's actually off the ladder. You never see that.
A little tumble behind the mound. Hat fell off. That was awesome. I mean, you just don't see that.
Discover which Cadillac is right for you and elevate every journey. Visit your Tri-State Cadillac dealer.
Baseball season is the perfect time to get a high-efficiency Peerless boiler. Start saving now and upgrade today. You can find the Peerless boiler that's right for your home or business and a list of local installers at peerlessboilers.com. And remember, Peerless Boilers, the world's best-built boilers.
Well, we go to the last of the first inning. The Angels did not score in the top half. And now the Mets will go after the veteran left-hander Tyler Anderson. 35-year-old facing Brandon Nimmo, left-hand batter. And the first pitch, fastball in for a called strike, 0-1. Well, if you want to hear about someone who has wildly reversed splits, Anderson's the guy. And that's why Mets manager Carlos Mendoza has had no problem at all inserting left-handed bats into the lineup against Anderson. He just had a word with home plate ump Mike Estabrook. Not sure about exactly what, but you know, lefties have hit .322 against the lefty Anderson so far this year. The 0-1 to Nimmo on the way. Is a fastball a little bit high. 1 ball and 1 strike. Anderson is not overpowering at all. He'll barely graze 90 as he did with that last fastball. The 1-1 on the way is taken downstairs. 2 balls and 1 strike. That's a cutter, and that's about as much of a breaking pitch as he tends to throw against left-handers. He really doesn't have a great slider, or really much of a slider at all, which is usually a good weapon lefty-lefty. 2-1 pitch is taken to the knees for a called strike. A fastball at just 89. I don't think Nimmo agreed with that call. And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Nimmo has hit this guy well, 8 out of 15, including a homer. 2-2 pitch coming. In there, strike 3 called. He gave him a slider and got him at the knees. So a pitch that Anderson does not often throw, which should be a pretty effective one against lefties, works against Nimmo. 1 out, and Francisco Lindor coming up.
Yeah, he has the sinker, the slider, and the curve that'll throw once in a blue moon. And, well, take a sip. There it was.
So here comes Lindor, and you can hear the fans maybe trying to give him a little extra encouragement. because he has really struggled lately. He is 0 for his last 21. And so Lindor trying to get on track, batting right-handed here against Anderson. And the first pitch on the way, taken off the outside corner, a changeup for ball 1. Lindor is just 2 for 12 against Anderson, but he's always hit very well against the Angels. Here's the 1-0 on the way to Francisco. That's inside with a cutter. 2 balls and no strikes. He's actually been on base in 33 straight games against the Angels. Juan Soto waiting on deck. 2-0 pitch. Swinging a high pop-up right side of the infield. And Gifo, the second baseman, waiting, and he makes the catch. 2 men away. So that's 0 for 22 now for Francisco Lindor. With 2 out, nobody on. Juan Soto will be next. Well, Soto showed off the wheels yesterday when he scored from third with the Reds playing the infield in. Mets runners at second and third. 1 out in the 8th in a 2-2 game. And Soto went from 0 to 60 faster than we've ever seen him. First pitch on the way. Swinging a high fly ball pretty deep to center. Adele back. Adele in front of the track. Makes the catch. And that retires the side. Nothing across at the end of 1. Angels nothing, Mets nothing on Odyssey Mets Radio. Power.
Rothenberg Law Firm at InjuryLawyer.com.
Mets and Angels scoreless going to the second inning, which is powered by Invesco QQQ, the official ETF of the New York Mets. Tomorrow's innovation awaits with Invesco QQQ. Let's rethink possibility. Joe Adell, right-hand batter, leads off against Kodai Senga. Senga needed 22 pitches to get out of that first inning, and the first one to Adell is a fastball high for ball 1. Adell, 10th pick overall 8 years ago out of a Louisville high school, has hit 21 home runs, tied for 7th in the American League. The 1-0 in for a called strike, a forkball. It's 1-1. And the Angels hit a whole lot of home runs. In fact, only the Yankees have hit more homers in the American League than the Angels. Yanks have hit 10 more. The Angels have hit 146. The 1-1, a little bit low with that forkball. 2 balls and 1 strike. The Angels strike out a ton, more than any team in the American League. 2-1 the count to Adell. The pitch, swing and a miss. Good forkball there, and he had him way out in front. And so it's 2-2. Angels don't hit for much of an average. They're 12th in the American League in team batting average. Middle of the pack in runs scored on average. And they don't have a tremendous amount of team speed or base stealing ability. Only the Tigers have stolen fewer bases in the American League than the Angels. They are a power hitting team to be sure. 2-2 pitch In there, strike three call. That's a beautiful fork ball. You know, usually you expect Senga's going to get a strikeout on a swing and miss with that pitch. But it had just enough little fade and wrinkle, caught the strike zone right at the bottom at the knees. And that's the second strikeout for Kodai.
Yeah, when he has that pitch working, and he can do both. He can get the chase, and then he can sneak one in at the knees. That is a nice thing to have. And you got to keep it at the knees. Don't let it float any higher.
Veteran third baseman Yohan Moncada, switch hitter batting left, takes low, ball one, as we come to you live from the Bob Murphy broadcast booth. Proudly presented by Bigelow Tea. Grab a mug and tea proudly. Moncada originally with the Red Sox, most of his career with the White Sox. 1-0 on the way, taken off the outside corner, 2-0. Cuban-born third baseman batting .244 with 8 home runs and 22 runs batted in. Outfield straightaway against him, batting left-handed. And Senga with a 2-0. Swinging a bouncer foul to the right of home plate. And it's 2 balls and 1 strike. Check the scores from Nissan. They make cars that thrill. Experience the thrill for yourself. Shop NissanUSA.com. And, well, Jarren Duran led off against Zach Wheeler in the first inning in Philadelphia and hit a home run. That's good news for the Mets. 2-1 pitch, lifted in the air to left field pretty deep. Nimmo backpedaling onto the track, makes the catch to the left of the 358 mark, 2 men away. There's not a whole lot of activity among the flags, which would lead you to believe that that ball was doing tricks in the wind. But Nimmo's looking up that way, checking the flags, kind of stutter-stepped a little bit on his way back. Became something of an adventure. But 2 up, 2 down. Logan O'Hoppe, the catcher, a local kid. Right-hand batter steps in. And Senga's first pitch. Swinging a drive in the air, well hit, right center. This is deep. McNeil on his horse, takes a look, and it's gone. Into the Angels bullpen just beyond the 380 mark in right center field. Logan O'Hoppe with his 18th home run of the year has the Angels on top, 1-0.
Senga's shaking his head. You got to know that these guys try to hit it out, try to pick a pitch. You don't want to get too repetitive in what you throw. Caught her on the outside corner on O'Hoppe going that way out to right center. Knew it was coming and turned it right around. He's a very good hitting catcher.
Their other catcher is old friend Travis d'Arnaud. He's on the bench right now. The Angels up 1-0. And here is Lamont Wade Jr., former San Francisco Giant. And he takes a called strike, a fastball, 0-1. Picked him up earlier in the year from the Giants. In fact, he hit his first home run as an Angel yesterday. Batting just $178 with 2 home runs. And the 0-1 pitch. Swinging a foul straight back over the screen. And it's 0-2 to Wade. So anyway, the Red Sox leading the Phillies 1-0. That game is in the top of the 4th inning in Philadelphia. Walker Buehler on the mound for the Red Sox against Zach Wheeler. 0-2 to Wade. In the dirt with a forkball, ball 1. Paul Skeens on the mound for the Pirates. They lead the Tigers 3-0, top of the 3rd in Pittsburgh. Yankees who trail the first place Blue Jays by 3 in the American League East. Scoreless in Toronto. They're on the bottom of the 2nd. Carlos Rodon against Kevin Gausman. 1-2 pitch. Check swing, looked like he went around. He did. Forkball in the dirt, strike 3. And that retires the side. Alvarez makes it official by putting a tag on a seemingly indifferent Wade.
Five-man umpiring crew here today in this young superstar.
And did their feet get tangled up? Yes, O'Hoppe tripped. They got their feet tangled up before the ball came down.
That goes helicoptering into the net. It's prime time.
And that ball is off the ladder. It's actually off the ladder. You never see that.
A little tumble behind the mound. Hat fell off. That was awesome. I mean, you just don't see that.
It is a 1933 Gaudi Babe Ruth card. It is 8.5 PSA. It's rated higher than the one in the Smithsonian.
This card at one point came with a pack or a stick of chewing gum.
This card actually is almost a century old. It was bought for a penny.
So the fact that just the heritage of a card like this is now coming up almost 90 years later into an auction, it's a pretty special moment.
Sometimes artifacts in the collection of the Hall of Fame could tell multiple stories. This is the earliest known Yankees baseball cap in existence. It tells a story of a very early baseball cap and of a guy who just had a cup of coffee in the big leagues. But there's actually a hidden story inside this cap. There's another name written in the cap. So who's Dolan?
Games from the New York Lottery. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY.
Pete Alonso hits the first pitch in the air, deep to left center field. Adell back on the track with the left fielder, Ward, and Ward makes the catch. One pitch, one long out here in the bottom half of the second inning. So Alonso back in the starting lineup. He came in defensively later in yesterday's game, so his consecutive game streak continues. It's now at 354 straight, which is the longest in Mets history. Pete said after the game yesterday he didn't care at all about it. And again, it's 354. 2,632 is the all-time record. Here's Jeff McNeil. First pitch. Takes a called strike. 0-1. Reds, or at least the Angels, well, they're wearing red, leading the Mets 1-0 here in the second, which brings up a uniform point. Here's the 0-1. That's hit softly towards right field. Base hit over the head of Rengifo, the second baseman. And Jeff McNeil is aboard with a one-out single. First hit for the Mets, and it'll bring up Mark Vientos. But you probably saw recently, Keith, the Angels had a throwback series where they wore uniforms that, I guess those went back to the mid-1980s. It was such a great, clean look. And I saw so many fans on social media remarking that they wished those were once again the Angels' uniforms, and I wonder if the team's up to something. Here's Vientos. Takes low ball one, because sometimes, a team knows that fans are clamoring for a different look, a traditional look. They bring it out as a, quote, alternate. The next thing you know, they make it full-time a year or two later. Here's the 1-0 to Vientos. Swinging a liner to left field. Ward moving up. Won't get it. It's a base hit. Plays it on one hop. McNeil, the second, stops there. Back-to-back singles by McNeil, and Vientos will bring up Brett Beatty in the second inning, which is powered by Invesco QQQ, the official ETF for the New York Mets. Tomorrow's innovation awaits with Invesco QQQ. Let's rethink possibility. Invesco Distributors Incorporated.
Well, here's the bottom of the lineup doing some things here for the Mets. You heard from David Stearns earlier today, who actually kind of straightened some reporters out and said, well, last 2, 3, 4 weeks, I like what the bottom of the lineup has been doing, and he brought up this guy. Brett Beatty, who's up in a big spot.
Well, he's facing a lefty who gives up a lot of hits to lefties. In the first pitch, taken inside, ball one. Beatty is hit in 3 straight, batting .236, 10 homers, tying his career high, 31 RBIs. Now, here goes. Mets have struggled for the most part with men in scoring position. Beatty has done reasonably well in these spots. The 1-0, swinging a little roller up the first base line. Out to get it, the catcher Ohapi fires to first in time. That takes care of Beatty. 2 men away. The runners move up. McNeil to third. Vientos to second. Welcome back, Francisco Alvarez.
It's a pretty nice reception, wouldn't you say?
Many in this crowd are on their feet. That's got to make the kid feel awfully good. I mean, this ovation's continuing here. Wow.
Now, they know what he can do. They just don't want to see it on Twitter at Syracuse. They want to see it right here, right now at the big league level.
We are in New York, right? First pitch on the way. Taken off the outside corner, a changeup, ball one. I'm telling you, ever since the Philly fans did what they did for Trey Turner when he was slumping so badly a couple of years ago, the fans have taken to showing a little more support nowadays for slumping players. The 1-0 taken on the outside corner, a changeup, 1-1. And so Alvarez is in our 8th batter spotlight, sponsored by Key Food. Look for all of your favorite products at your local Key Food. Key Food and their family of supermarkets. It's our spotlight. We'll do it when we want. Well, Alvarez is hitting .236 here at the big league level with 3 homers, 11 RBIs. 7 homers, 15 RBIs in his last 6 games for Syracuse. The 1-1 on the way upstairs, ball 2. But what I started to say before about him was that Mets president of baseball operations, David Stearns, would have given Alvarez a couple of extra days to report, figuring he would take the demotion so hard. But it was just the opposite. Francisco hit the ground running. 2-1 pitch, hit hard on the ground up the middle, but right to the second baseman, Rengifo, who's got it, throws to first in time, side retired. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, 2 left. And at the end of third inning here at Citi Field. Angels 1, Mets nothing. Kodai Senga back on the mound as we begin the third inning here, Keith.
He'll face Luis Rengifo, switch hitter batting left. First pitch. Strike piercing the outside corner, a cutter. That's nothing in one on Rengifo, whose name is always swirled around as a potential trade piece, infielder, but he's not having a good year at all. Beatty in at third. Here's the 0-1. Swinging a little number toward third base. Beatty charges, bare hands, throws high, pulls Alonso off the bag. He comes down late, and Rengifo is safe on an infield hit. Well, Beatty was playing in perfectly, came in confidently, reached down with the bare hand, and you could tell as soon as he let it go, just the trajectory of it, Alonso was going to have to get on his pogo stick to get up and get it. He did, but came down just a shade late. So Rengifo is just sitting at .234 with a .589 OPS. Is on base to lead off the third inning for the Angels. Back to the top of the order for Zach Neto, their shortstop. He walked his first time after a very long at bat to start the game against Senga. Kodai holds the set. Pitch in the dirt. Good block by Alvarez, moving to his right on the slider. That's 1 ball and no strikes. Behind Neto, Nolan Shotwell. That's who's on deck. Brought to you by TimberTech Decking and Railing. Everything wood should be. Visit TimberTech.com. The 1-0 Angels. Home run by Logan O'Hoppe. Big hole open on the right side. The 1-0. Swing and a miss. That was a sinker that came in at 87 miles an hour, which is one that most of the guys in the Angels dugout are going to go, well, hold on a second. Give me the scouting report one more time, because Senga does not throw an 87-mile-an-hour sinker very often. Kodai's trying to do what he can here. 1-1, missed outside with a sinker a little faster there at 89, and it's 2-1. What Kodai has showed us over his first 14 starts this year is that once a game, maybe if you're lucky, twice, he'll float a little 70-mile-an-hour curveball in there. Neto calls for his time. We've seen Kodai, especially this year, get really creative with changing speeds, as it has been said many times before, adding and subtracting where needed, even on certain pitches. That should be one thing and are something else entirely. 2-1. Neto takes low with a cutter. 3 balls and a strike. But really, we might be seeing sinkers at different miles per hour, not because Senga's getting creative, but because he's just looking to throw some strikes here. 23 strikes, 19 balls of the 43 pitches he's thrown. He's behind 3-1. The pitch here. Nams the inside corner, a sinker at 85 now, and it's 3-2. So who knows what's coming next from Kodai. Trying to keep the Angels guessing. Team that has hit for a ton of power. Neto, 15 homers from the shortstop spot. Infield looking for 2. The payoff. Runner goes. Pitch is grounded to third. Beatty has no play at second, so slings it across to first in time for the out. Rengifo was moving on 3 and 2. 2 strikes there, really. So he's in scoring position now. That'll bring up Nolan Shotwell. Listen to Meet at the Apple, the Mets official podcast presented by PC Richard & Son. Join hosts Vito Calisi and Jonathan Barron for exclusive access to the Mets, plus regular interviews with manager Carlos Mendoza. Subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and the Mets YouTube channel. Shotwell, tall, slender left-hand hitter. 1-0 Angels, top 3. Pitch. Bounces to the plate again, and it's picked by the catcher Alvarez for ball 1. I've seen Alvarez a lot already with Senga trying to find a strike zone. Makes some nice picks on balls bouncing in there, especially with men on base. Kodai has dealt with at least some traffic in all these innings tonight, even though he just kind of got started. 1-0. That's the outside corner. Fastball at 94, and it's 1-1 on Shotwell. Who, as we mentioned, was hit by a pitch yesterday in Philly. Lineup car was a little bit late coming out. They're probably checking in on Shotwell's availability today. Here's the 1-1. Same spot, outside corner, strike 2. A little hotter that time at 95. And it's a ball and 2 strikes. Mike Trout is on deck. And Shotwell calls for time. Shotwell is just 23. He played 22 games in the minor leagues before getting called up to the major leagues. That was in 2023. The Angels, a lot of the time, they don't wait at all. They get some of these guys up here. They rush them to the big leagues. 1-2, missed outside, a fastball. That's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Angels have never been known to have a good farm system. They are always at the bottom of the barrel. They don't really develop players very well, and maybe they know that. And that's why they say, well, the heck with the minors. Just get up to the big leagues. 2-2. Lifted foul off to the left and out of play, and it stays 2 balls and 2 strikes. Remember the last time the Angels were here, 2 years ago, of course, with AL, NL, Interleague, you do every other. So Mets went out to L.A. last year. So 2 years ago they were here. And you might remember that the Angels at that deadline, they made a whole bunch of trades to try to make the team better. And they didn't make the playoffs that year. 2-2. Swing and a miss. Got him with a forkball. Snap throw to second base. Not in time. Rengifo dives back in. So the strikeout of Shotwell is the second out of the inning. Got him with a high forkball for his 4th strikeout. And then maybe try to find it out on the bases with Rengifo, but he stays at second. And here's Mike Trout. 1-0 Angels. Home run last inning by Logan O'Hoppe to right center. And here's Trout, who can go to all fields himself. First pitch. Missed inside a heater. That's 1 ball and no strikes. A reason, by the way, 2 years ago the Angels really went for it was because they knew Shohei Ohtani was going to be leaving them. Turns out to go a little bit north from Anaheim up to Los Angeles. 1-0. Trout pops it up down the right field line toward foul ground. Alonso over, Soto over, but it's in the crowd. Unplayable, uncatchable for all 3. Acuna was coming in there late. And so it's 1-1 on Trout. Now they have tried at times to do what they can to make the playoffs in Anaheim, and Trout barely gets to the playoffs. He's in his 15th major league season. And the injuries have really taken a toll on the back half of his career. When we were out there last year, he actually announced on the day of the series starting that he had torn his meniscus in his knee for the 2nd time that year. Runner at second base, 2 outs, the 1-1. Up and in. Trout takes ball 2. Torn meniscus last year. Year before that, hamate bone. 2022, rare back disorder. Tore his calf the year before. It's been annoying for Mike Trout to deal with injuries every single year. Senga's 2-1. Just missed high with a cutter. And once again, Senga falling behind. So Trout finds himself in a pretty juicy count, 3-1. Taylor Ward, big home run hitter, is on deck. Angels have a 1-0 lead. Here's the 55th pitch of the night for Senga. In for a strike, a forkball, and it's 3-2. And that time Trout twitched the hands down toward the plate, but didn't fully green light himself. So he held back on a pitch that he didn't anticipate coming his way on 3-1, but Senga threw it anyway. So 3-2 on Trout. 2 outs. Payoff. Inside. Missed with a forkball, and Senga has walked his second batter of the night. And now there are 2 on with 2 out, and Taylor Ward will hit.
Here goes again. We're talking about the potential for a very short outing by a Mets starting pitcher, partially because of performance, but also because they are going to continue to monitor the pitches thrown by Senga. Carlos Mendoza somewhat cryptically smiled and said, well, we've got a plan. And it's certainly not going to be anything close to 100 pitches, that's for sure.
So 2 on, 2 out. Taylor Ward, 23 homers, 5th most in the American League. Batting now, first pitch. Breaking ball in for a strike, went with a sweeper to get ahead. That's 0-1. I told you that David Stern spoke a lot today. Spoke for a good chunk of time and covered a lot of topics, of course, including the trade deadline. The Mets are going to be bullpen heavy with their trades. 0-1. Missed down low, forkball. That's 1 ball and 1 strike.
And they're not the only ones.
No. The thing is, too, is the reason why the Mets find themselves in bullpen peril like everybody else is because everybody else is also dealing with the fact that starters aren't going deep. So some guys lose effectiveness. 1-1. Missed down low. 2 balls and 1 strike. Everybody deals with overuse. No doubt about that. So the Mets today said bullpen, maybe some center field. David Stearns did say that it's pretty obvious that Tyrone Taylor is struggling to hit. Jeff McNeil's played out there a little bit. Jose Siri's hurt, so that doesn't help you win games. But it'll mostly be pitching. 2-1. Line down the left field line. That's a base hit for Ward going into the corner. Rengifo around third. He will score. They're going to send Trout around third. Lindor turns, fires the cutoff throw. It's high. Sails over Alvarez's head behind home plate. Trout scores. Ward ends up at third, and it's 3-0 Angels in the top of the third inning. Give Ward a double. He goes to third on the throw, and 2 runs scored. That throw from Lindor, perfect timing, good window, had a shot, but he just airmailed it toward Alvarez.
It was really 2 high throws. The first one from Nimmo to Lindor. And so Lindor had to reach up for the throw, knowing he had to hurry to get the ball to the plate, and that's why he sailed the throw.
So now Joe Adell, 2 outs, runner at third, 3-0 Angels. Pitch. Line the other way. That's a base hit for Adell. And here comes another Angel runner. Ward in standing with no throw, of course, from third. It is 4-0 Los Angeles. And here comes Jeremy Hefner with the translator, Hiro Fujiwara. Senga has given up 4 runs, tied for his season high. Now, of course, there's an error mixed in here with the Lindor throw, but really the bat has been put on the ball by the Angels tonight in Senga's first home start back since the injury. They'll give Adell an RBI single the other way. Hefner out there. Slow down in action. Brought to you by Iservay. A run in the second, 3 here in the third. By the way, they have, even though there was an error, given Ward 2 RBIs, bringing in Trout, that runner. He just goes to third on the E6 if you're scoring. And then, of course, he scores as well on the Adell RBI. So not the start Senga wanted tonight, and we're kind of waiting as we saw Senga begin the game and couldn't really find that control and command. Usually has been able to pull a rabbit out of his hat, but so far hasn't found it yet. So here's Moncada, switch hitter batting left, runner at first, 2 outs. Pitch. Missed outside a sweeper. It's 1 ball and no strikes. Senga is the ace of this staff. His ERA has jumped, if you can jump it, from 1.39 up to 1.79 right now, but really the results right now are the issue. The 1-0 is in for a strike, a sweeper, and it's 1-1. That series with the Reds did not go the way the Mets wanted to. Okay, get another start here, a new series. They're down 4-0 early. 1-1. Missed down low, 2 balls and a strike. So Senga's next pitch in the third inning will be number 65. And the last thing the Mets want to do is grab that bullpen phone and get somebody up.
Well, guess what?
Runner at first, 2 outs. Senga holds, spins, and lightly tosses over to first. Adele dives back in safely without a tag.
I think, Keith, realistically, he's at 64 pitches now. It's going to be a challenge for him, given the restraints they're going to have on Kodai from just a pitch count perspective, to get him through 4 innings. And here goes again.
2-1 to Moncada. Fouled back. I think his backswing clipped Alvarez. And that was the cutter, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Now, Carlos told me pregame 85 pitches or so for Senga. That's 20 pitches away from right here, right now. So it's kind of, okay, you get this guy. Maybe you can finish out a 4th inning. But a lot of maybes and what-ifs at this point. 4-0 Angels in the 3rd. The 2-2 missed outside a forkball. And once again, a full count for an Angels hitter. And so the pacing from Hefner and Mendoza. They always have a plan, and then they are planning for this, even though they don't want to. Runner goes. Payoff is high and away, ball 4. Senga's walked another. 2 walks in the inning. All of the runs have scored, by the way, with 2 outs. And the inning continues. The pitch count climbs. 2 on, 2 out. And here's the guy that hit a home run last inning, Logan O'Hoppe. Now, yesterday, David Peterson, who has been the only guy delivering 6 innings or so, he delivered that. That still had to use 4 relievers to take it home. And bullpen is getting up. Pitch up and in. O'Hoppe leans back out of the way of 94. And it's 1-0. The Mets today, as far as some moves that they made, he's not active yet, but they reclaimed Rico Garcia, who is doing the Subway Series tour lately. Mets to Yankees, back to Mets. The 1-0 misses outside. Senga falls behind again. And it's 2-0. But the guy that's throwing now has also been on that track of, he was here, he's gone, he's back. Kevin Herget warming up. 4-0 Angels in the 3rd. 2-0. Fouled off at home plate. That was the sinker. And it's 2-1. Thing right here, right now, that Senga cannot afford is a big fat mistake pitch. O'Hoppe's already hit 1 out. The Angels licking their chops against him. 3 in this inning. 2 on, 2 out, 2-1. Missed down low, a forkball. 3-1. Lefty Lamont Wade Jr. is on deck. This inning has come to a screeching halt because Senga's been missing and giving up some big fat hits. The infield back around to the left. Outfield straight up. 3-1. Popped up. Foul ground first base side out of play. Alonso watches it go back behind the first base dugout. So now, once again, Senga's got a hitter 3-2. It's the 4th 3-ball, 2-strike count in the inning. 72 pitches for Kodai Senga. Remember, it was the hamstring, not an arm injury, but still. Runners about to break. There they go. Payoff pitch is in there. Got him looking. Strike 3 called outside corner. Now the inning finally comes to an end for Kodai Senga, who faces 8 batters. The Angels Herget comes out of the bullpen. So the Mets get 3 innings from starter Kodai Senga tonight. 4-0 Angel lead. 73 pitches for Senga over 3 innings. And even though he's scheduled to throw about 85 tonight, it's simply not worth it for the Mets. And so here's the bullpen having to cover 6 innings. Facing Lamont Wade Jr., the lefty, first pitch from Herget is in for a strike. Going to count 0-1. Herget at Kane University in Union, New Jersey. From Teaneck, 34 years old, pitching for the Mets for the second time this season. 0-1. Lifted foul off to the left. And the count 0-2. And I don't mean, the second time this season. It is his second appearance as a Met. But the first one was months ago. He has since pitched with the Braves. And earlier I guess now it's Monday, last week, came right back. First appearance back out of the pen. 0-2. Hit high in the sky to center field. McNeil moving over toward right center field. Makes the one-hand catch. And there's one away. So for Kodai Senga, his final line. 4 runs allowed. All earned on 4 hits. Walked 3, struck out 5 in 3 innings. His ERA went from 1.39 to 1.79, but certainly is his worst performance of the season. So here's Rengifo, switch hitter batting left. First pitch, Herget misses inside with ball 1. Top of the 4th, sponsored by Cars for Kids. 877 Cars for Kids. That's Cars with a K to donate your car today. Beatty in at third against Rengifo. Here's the 1-0. Ripped to the right side, base hit over Acuna at second. And picked up by Soto in right field. So Rengifo, who struggled this season, is, of course, 2 for 2. He's in that 9 spot. A Linfield single last time. That one a bullet. And 1-on-1 out for the top of the order in Zach Neto.
That must have been your fault. Imagine saying that a hitter is struggling and then he gets 2 hits. And you had that under complete control, didn't you?
The broadcasters, Jinx, we'd be billionaires right now if we had that kind of power. But, here's Neto batting right. First pitch. Popped up, coming back this way toward our section. And into the seats, strike 1.
And most people with at least a room temperature IQ can understand and figure that out.
Although you and I usually, we know those kind of things happen maybe more often than not or whatever, but usually you'll say something, and as you're calling the pitch, I'll duck a little bit.
Usually that's just about weather for me.
Okay.
Don't ever say it's beautiful and there's no chance of rain.
Well, yeah, don't say the word there. The pitch misses outside, and it's 1-1.
That's when we have control.
Well, we had Anthony Recker joining us in Pittsburgh for that first series. Recker did a great job. Happy to have him, but he broke the Cardinal rule on day 1, said the word. Throw to first, and back in safely is Luis Rengifo. What is Laz Diaz doing? He's got his hands over his heart. I think he thought that throw might hit him because his hands, instead of saying safe, both went, as he was almost going to say, wide left.
He was doing a Fred Sanford.
Hello, Laz. The 1-1 is popped up to right. Soto freezes, turns his hips, works his way toward the right field line, and makes the catch for the second out. Elizabeth, the big one.
Coming to join you, honey.
So 2 outs. 4-0 Angels in the 4th inning. And here's Nolan Shonowell. We'll check some scores. Brought to you by the New York Lottery. Play the new scratch-off games for a chance to win. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY. Room temperature IQ is the one that got me there.
I like that one, huh?
30 seconds later. That's pretty good. So runner at first base, 2 outs. Throw over there. Back in safely. That time Laz knew it was coming and throws up the safe sign. Philly and Boston tied at 2. Top of the 6th at Citizens Bank Park. Up in Toronto, Yankees lead the Blue Jays 1-0, top 5. Giancarlo Stanton hit a home run. Pitch to Shonowell. Lefty takes down the middle from Herget. Strike 1. And then Drake Baldwin has a 3-run double for Atlanta that leads the Giants 5-2. The Giants will be there this weekend.
I caught that less than subtle John Miller.
We love John. Top of the 3rd inning in that one. 0-1, misses low. Snap to first base. The tag safe. Rengifo back in safely at first base. It is 1-1 on Shonowell. Drake Baldwin, by the way, mentioned his name with Atlanta. He's the rookie, former first rounder by the Braves. Him being up is the reason why Travis d'Arnaud was out of a job. 1-1, it misses high and away. 2 balls and 1 strike. We have told you that Travis is here tonight. He's, of course, with the Angels, not in the starting lineup, but we will most certainly see him at some point this season. A veteran presence this stage of his career. 2-1, missed low and in. 3 balls and a strike. And actually the Angels clubhouse, speaking of which, they did something which, not a huge story, but they had a rule for themselves, I think instituted in spring training, where they just said, no more cell phones in the clubhouse, no more cell phone use, which is kind of an interesting little team rule. 3-1 is squibbed toward the left side. Beatty picks it up at third, cutting off the shortstop. High throw to first is there. Shonowell is out, and the inning is over. Kevin Herget with a scoreless top of the 4th inning. We go to the bottom.
So without further ado, snap on your time goggles and prepare to zoom 1,000 years into the future. The D-backs are still the D-backs, though now they're represented by a robotic techno-snake, and the Cubs have embraced their future amongst the stars, now being represented by Ursa Major. Minneapolis was the first to establish relations with our extraterrestrial friends. The Rays are the cosmic rays flying through space in their devil ray-shaped spacecraft.
Every journey. Experience the thrill of the Optic, the smooth exhilaration of the all-electric Lyric, or the spacious Escalade or Escalade IQ. Discover which Cadillac is right for you. Visit your Tri-State Cadillac dealer.
Pete Alonso leads off the bottom of the 4th. Mets chasing 4. Angels have a 4-0 lead. First pitch to Pete. Dots the outside corner. A fastball there from Anderson. Again, doesn't come in that hot, just 87 miles an hour. So for some, that's a fastball. For others, that's a changeup. But for the veteran Tyler Anderson, that's the heater. Here's the 0-1. Swing and a miss. Well, he went to the changeup right after that, and the count quickly 0-2. And the reason why guys like this can be so pesky for big league hitters, he throws 87. Why don't you put a 10 spot up on him? It's that pitch that followed afterwards, the changeup. Soft, great arm action that mimics the fastball arm action and just deceives you. Here's the 0-2 to Pete. Swing and a miss. Chewed him up inside. And on 3 pitches, Anderson strikes out Alonso for his 2nd strikeout of the night. 1 down in the 4th. Pete was the cleanup hitter, brought to you by Roto-Rooter. Leave plumbing to the pros at Roto-Rooter. So now Jeff McNeil had a bloop single to right his first time. 4-0 Angels. Bottom of the 4th. Jeff batting left. Infield around to the right. Moncada in at third. First pitch. Pop foul back out of play. And the count 0-1. McNeil, then Vientos in the inning. Mets have just 2 hits. Kodai Senga gave up the 4 runs. Very quiet in this ballpark. Pretty early in this game. Here's the 0-1 to McNeil. Up and in. That's 1 ball and 1 strike. It is WWE night, so a lot of wrestling fans in the house. And the folks in the graphics department has put every Met headshot on a WWE body. The 1-1 popped up foul back and out of play, and it's 1-2. And not to get corny and cheesy, but why not? We get corny and cheesy. Mets have a lot of lifting to do, down by 4 in the 4th inning.
Oh, you're a dad, all right.
It comes with the territory. Infield back around to the right. Anderson winds and deals the 1-2. It missed outside a fastball, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. So Senga early exit tonight. Tomorrow, Frankie Montas starting. And then Wednesday, the day game, Sean Manaea. Here's the 2-2 to McNeil. Missed outside, a slider away. That's 3 balls and 2 strikes. Angels tomorrow will go with the veteran Kyle Hendricks, the former Cub, and one of the last men standing from that 2016 Chicago Cubs World Series team. And the Angels are TBD on Wednesday. And then the Mets will go out to California. See the Giants for 3 and the Padres for 3. Weekend into the following week. Payoff to McNeil. Missed outside, ball 4, and he's on. Second time Jeff's been on tonight. Mentioned the single, now he has a walk. The Mets, who are down by 4, have 1 on and 1 out for Mark Vientos, who also had a hit his last time up. Bottom of the 4th inning, brought to you by Route 4 Hyundai in Paramus, New Jersey. Vientos DHing tonight. Mets said today that Starling Marte will probably make an appearance when the Mets go to California. First pitch, bounce foul down the third baseline, and the count 0-1. So the DH spot has become one that has been banged up. Marte hurt with the knee bruise. Jesse Winker got an epidural last week. And so Vientos trying to take this spot and own it. Puts his hand up, calls for his time. We've been hearing mixed reports about, okay, the Mets are interested in certain targets in free agency, but of course, it takes 2 to tango. You got to give something up. And there have been a lot of good prospects, especially on the pitching side for the Mets this year, but also they have a lot of infielders. Vientos, Beatty, Mauricio, Acuna. Do they move one of them? Here's the 0-1. Change up, check swing. Did he go? Yes, he did on appeal to the first base umpire, Laz Diaz.
You know, what's interesting, Keith, is that you mentioned Beatty, Mauricio, and Acuna specifically, and none of those players were brought in by the current administration. So there's a different level of loyalty sometimes.
Absolutely. Anderson set, 0-2. Popped him up, foul ground, first base side. Shotwell over from first toward the dugout railing, has room and makes the catch, moving back onto the warning track. That's the second out, so Vientos pops out. 2 down with a runner at first, and Brett Beatty coming up.
Vientos in that same category.
And the motivation behind that and what it all means is, if you're an administration that drafted Brett Beatty, you're going to give him a longer leash because you want to prove, hey, we made the right decision here. See, it happened for him, and it's our guy. When you're a new administration, sure, you can be more impatient. First pitch to Beatty, misses inside with ball 1.
And objective in perhaps a way that the administration that drafts or develops a certain player can't be.
Beatty did bounce out to the catcher. A little chopper in front of home plate his first time. Infield around to the right. Third baseman is in and off the line. Anderson set. 4-0 Angels. Time called by Beatty as Anderson was lifting his leg, I think, to throw over to first base. McNeil is over there. Not really a threat to run. Jeff has just tried it once this year. He's made it, but just 1 for 1. There are people that wonder, well, what kind of value would Beatty have or Mauricio have or Acuna, even though they're not performing at crazy all-star numbers. Cheap players, a lot of control, and a lot of upside. 1-0. Missed down low. 2 balls and no strikes. Some people have talked about Mitch Keller as the Pirates. He's somebody that they're interested in. The Pirates can't really pay anybody, so they want to get long-term, young, controllable, and cheap, as we said, offensive players. That's where that match might be made. 2-0. Beatty cracks the ball to right field, pretty deep, toward the gap in right center. It is gone. Brett Beatty gets the Mets back into the game with a 2-run home run into the Angels bullpen. A career best now 11th home run and counting for Brett Beatty. The 2-run shot makes it a 4-2 Angel lead in the bottom of the 4th inning. There's some value right there by Brett Beatty. Getting the high five at home plate by the man he brought in, Jeff McNeil. So a shot there off the veteran Tyler Anderson, who can give up a home run from time to time, and that's good to see Beatty again doing it against a lefty. Yeah, Anderson has given up a lot more to lefties than he has to righties this year, but for a young guy like Beatty, good to see. So now can they ride the momentum into this at bat? Another young player making his return, Francisco Alvarez. Alvarez's first game back from AAA Syracuse, where he was hitting a home run, it felt like every day. First pitch. Missed down low, a changeup, and it's 1 ball and no strikes.
Boy, did that ever wake the crowd up.
I was just going to say, I mentioned, I think when McNeil was up, felt like you could hear a pin drop in here. But all of a sudden, Beatty going deep. Adds that jolt. There's the 1-0 pitch. Misses inside, ball 2. So Alvarez now finds himself in a pretty count, 2-0. Mets' first run of the game sponsored by Sloman's. Call or visit Sloman's.com to schedule a free estimate on a new central AC system. 2-0. Bounces to the plate. Ball 3. Sloman's, the difference is human. Now Alvarez did bounce out of the second baseman in the second inning, so he's 0 for 1. But you can tell, even on some of these takes, he is pretty patient. He's not aggressive. Keeping his hands pretty still. Here's the 3-0 pitch. And it's up high. Ball 4. Alvarez is on. It was close. He actually stood there waiting for Estabrook to call a strike. But instead, it's ball 4. So it's gone strikeout, but then a walk, then a pop out, home run, walk. And here's Acuna. But first, Barry Enright, the pitching coach, in that Red Angels hoodie, takes the walk out to the mound to visit with Anderson, the veteran. Angels have a 4-2 lead. Alvarez got to first base, and he's in a big embrace with Antoine Richardson. The way those two were hugging, I thought that was Randazzo and Gelbs over there at first base.
Well, you got to go a long way to match that passion.
Well, we told you that Brett Beatty got engaged during the All-Star break. Don't want to forget that so did Antoine Richardson. Go congratulations to Antoine.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Congratulations is right.
So meeting on the mound is over. Nobody was engaged in the making of that mound visit. Here is Acuna. All of a sudden the tying man. Mets down by 2. 4-2 Angels in the bottom of the 4th. A lot of baseball to be played. Pitch. Missed down low. A changeup. Ball 1 to Acuna. Moncada, the third baseman, is playing in and right near the bag. He's probably a stride and a half off the bag. Anderson looks at first, fires home. Acuna takes a strike with a changeup, and it's 1-1. And actually, just giving a little second look at Moncada, he has these bright, silvery, shiny, reflective cleats on. Those are some cleats at third base. See those things?
Yes. Blinding me.
Here's the 1-1. Swing and a miss. Fastball at 90, up in the zone. And it's 1-2 on Acuna. Mentioned yesterday he had the big hit. It was in the bottom of the 5th inning against Cincinnati. Gave the Mets a 2-1 lead. They won the game 3-2. That, of course, helped them take the lead and hold it. 1-2 coming. Inside, he backpedals out of the way of the fastball. 2-2 on Luis Angel. So Alvarez at first, 2 outs. Nimmo at the top of the order, third time through, looming on deck. Acuna looking to extend the inning. 2-2 pitch. Popped up. Right side of the infield towards shallow right. Rengifo out. Wade Jr. in. Rengifo makes the catch right in front of his right fielder. And the inning is over. But Brett Beatty gets the Mets on the board. 2-run home run. And at the end of 4 innings of play from Citi Field.
All right, Ryan. PSA dove in. Do we have them graded?
We do. This is the first set of graded cards from the 2024 Topps MLB Network set.
I'm so excited about this.
Yeah.
Now, they all have the same grade? Or
no.
So one of us will be like the highest graded card?
Could be. There could be multiple. So first up, we got Mark DeRosa.
Let's see what D-Rose. Of course, D-Rose a 10 out of 10. Handsome, athletic. All right.
I'm going to throw out a restaurant kitchen term to you, and then hit me with the baseball one. I'll start first.
Okay.
Mise en place.
Oh, mise en place. That is, as the chef, you put all your different ingredients out, kind of before you start cooking, right?
You got it, man. Yeah. That's the most important
That's a tough one. I hear this one a lot because of my name, can of corn.
Easy fly ball.
Rethink Possibility. Invesco Distributors, Inc.
To the fifth inning at Citi Field. Angels' lead is now 4-2 after Brett Beatty got the Mets back into it with a 2-run home run. Kevin Herget pitched the fourth inning. Mets bullpen tonight. Howie's going to have to hold it up while the Mets offense claws its way back.
Yeah, and not to overstate things, but at least in my opinion, this is a huge inning for Kevin Herget and the Mets. They really need a shutdown inning here because this crowd, as you said, was out of it. Beatty brought them back into it. Now Mike Trout leads off for the Angels, and the first pitch drilled in the air to straightaway center, but right at McNeil, and he makes the catch, one man out. And that's the point. If you can get maybe even 3 quick outs here, if Herget can pitch effectively for 2-3 innings, save the bullpen, Mets have the top of the order up when you go to the bottom of the fifth inning, and, momentum can be such an ephemeral thing in a baseball game, but you can build a little off of a good, efficient inning defensively here and on the mound. Herget to Taylor Ward and a high foul fly, first base side. That'll settle into the seats and out of play. Down the right field line just a bit. And the count 0-1. This fifth inning is sponsored by Elec 825, building our future. So after Senga was only able to deliver 3 innings, this is the second inning of work for Kevin Herget. The 0-1. Missed high and tight to Taylor Ward. 1 ball and 1 strike as we come to you live from the Bob Murphy broadcast booth. Proudly presented by Bigelow Tea. Grab a mug and tea proudly. Here's the 1-1. Pulled on the ground towards the third base dugout. And it's 1-2 on Taylor Ward, who strikes out a ton. And so do the Angels as a group. They have struck out more than any team in the American League. Ward, 5th most of any American League hitter. The 1-2, punched in the air near first. Easy play for Alonso, and he makes the one-hand catch, 2 men away. We'll pause right here for station identification.
This is Odyssey Mets Radio on WHSQ and WCBS-FM HD2, New York.
Howie Rose, Keith Rad with you at Citi Field. Angels 4, Mets 2 out, nobody on here in the fifth, and here's Joe Adell. Singled in a run his last time up, also struck out on the first pitch, fouled back this way, just in front of us. Did that fan catch it with one hand?
Whoa, he got it.
Oh, a fan wearing a Daniel Murphy Mets road jersey in the front of section 318, barehanded, one-handed, a sizzling foul ball. Another foul ball straight back on 0-1 lands in the seats downstairs where another fan's made a nice catch. But that's the best play I've seen in section 318 in years.
Get that guy an ice pack. That had to hurt. Straight back.
Wow. 0-2 to Adell. Beautifully done. So Herget now. I believe time was called by Adell, so Herget just stepped back towards the scraper at the back of the mound, but now climbs up. He's ready to go. Just waiting for Adell to be set. Plenty of time left on the pitch clock. Herget sets the 0-2. Little bit low and away with a changeup. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Juan Moncada waiting on deck for the Angels. Herget with a left leg kick deals 1-2. Reached for and popped up outside first. Playable for Alonso near the dugout. Edge of the grass makes the catch. Side retired, and Kevin Herget gave the Mets exactly what they needed in that top of the fifth inning. A quick, efficient 1-2-3 job. And in the middle of the fifth here at Citi Field, it's the Angels 4 and the Mets 2.
It's a 5-man umpiring crew here today in this young superstar.
And did their feet get tangled up? Yes, so Hoppy Tritt, they got their feet tangled up before the ball came down.
That goes helicoptering into the net. It's Pantar.
And that ball is off the ladder. It's actually off the ladder. You never see that.
A little tumble behind the mound, hat fell off. That was awesome. I mean, you just don't see that.
Now, representing the organization, Jim Leland and AJ Hinch are presenting Miggy with a customized set of cleats made by renowned artist Marco Turzo, made from several significant baseballs from Miguel's career. The cleats are presented on a base representing the time he spent at both third and first base in his career.
Fifth inning here at Citi Field. The Angels have a 4-2 lead over the Mets, who got back into this game on a Brett Beatty 2-run home run in the fourth inning. So now the Mets will send the top of the order to the plate here in the fifth, which means they'll be starting the third time through the order against Taylor Anderson. And remember, Anderson has gone 15 consecutive starts without a win. His last win was back in April. He is 2-6 on the year. And he is going to be facing Nimmo, Lindor, and Soto here in the fifth inning. 5 hits for the Angels, 3 for the Mets. First pitch to Nimmo, swung on and popped up. Foul outside third over near the dugout and playable for Moncada. And he makes the one-hand catch. 1 pitch, 1 out. And Francisco Lindor will try again to snap the offer. It is now size 23. You can stream every out-of-market game live or on demand and stream MLB Network 24/7 for the entire season. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. Lindor has popped up twice. Once to the second baseman, once to the third baseman. Again, batting right-handed. First pitch by Anderson. Clips the outside corner, a slider, and it's 0-1. Lindor's actually been on base in 33 straight games that he's played against the Angels. And time called at home plate. Lindor takes his time out early here. Juan Soto waiting on deck.
Surprised he doesn't maybe try to just lay one down, get on base.
Moncada very deep at third. And the 0-1 lays off a changeup that's outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Mets are down 2 here. 1 base runner, and they would have the tying run at the plate. Again, it's relatively early, middle innings here, bottom 5. 1-1 pitch. Swinging a high fly ball to relatively shallow right field. Wade waiting, makes the one-hand catch. 2 men away, so Lindor has hit it in the air rather weakly all 3 times tonight. He's now 0 for his last 24. And here is Juan Soto, who flied to center and fouled out to third. I was talking before the game with Mets manager Carlos Mendoza about Soto's dash home on the hard grounder to the second baseman, McClain, in the 8th inning yesterday, which brought home the go-ahead and eventual winning run. First pitch swung on and popped in the air to left field. Playable for Ward, makes the catch to retire the side. Carlos said it's a timing play that they work on when that ball, if you're going on contact, once that ball gets through the hitting zone.
So Rockies is really like where my major league career really took off. You know, it was a special time in my life, 7 years with the team. And this jersey in particular, 2018 postseason patch on it here. So I've always kept all these jerseys with the patch on them because that's what it's all about, is getting to the playoffs and trying to win the championship. You know, the black jersey with the cutoff, not a lot of teams rock the cutoff anymore, but this is a jersey we wore all the time in Colorado.
Sixth inning at Citi Field. It is the Angels 4, the Mets 2. Kevin Herget's done a nice job. 2 scoreless innings. Looks for more. Facing Yoan Moncada. 0 for 1 with a walk. Switch hitter batting left. Fouls the first pitch back. 0-1. Just an 88-mile-an-hour fastball. Sponsored by Spectrum. Life moves, and so should your connections. Get fast and reliable speeds on the network that moves with you. Spectrum. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Taken high and away. A changeup. 1-1. So Herget's done a nice job. And Tyler Anderson has kept his team in front after they put up a run in the second, 3 in the third. Moncada fouls a changeup straight back. It's 1-2. Angels bullpen quiet right now. Remember, they took 2 out of 3 in Philadelphia from the Phillies over the weekend, and the Phillies are tied with the Red Sox 2-2, bottom 8 in Philadelphia tonight. 1-2 to Moncada, the pitch. Line towards second, caught by Acuna, who began to leave his feet and made the catch at his left shoulder. Sharply hit. Nice grab by Acuna, 1 away.
Chris Davinsky is getting up in the Met bullpen. Herget is about to. This is Logan O'Hoppe. The next guy he faces is Lamont Wade Jr. That would start him second time through the lineup, and so that might be close to the finish line. You only want to expose your relievers to these guys about once, maybe twice.
Yeah, heaven forbid, right? Here's O'Hoppe, fouls the first pitch back, 0-1. You know, somehow we got into a discussion before the game in the press room with Ron Darling about Game 6 against Houston in the '86 playoffs, and one of the greatest pitching performances in Mets history. Kept that game tied. 0-1 on the way, line to left field. That's a base hit for O'Hoppe. Picked up by Nimmo, who plays it in. Roger McDowell pitched 5 shutout, 1-hit innings in that game, keeping it tied, giving the Mets a chance to come back as they eventually did to win the pennant. Well, one time through the order is going to be it for Kevin Herget, because Carlos Mendoza's on his way to the mound. Chris Davinsky will enter, and this pitching change and slow down in action is brought to you by Iservay.
Mets fans, Westbury Toyota is here to make this year a winner. We're proud to announce that Westbury Toyota...
Well, if you look at the infield, they just came out and put, Diamond Dry everywhere except where McKinstry needed it right here.
Wonder when he realized he broke his chain. With an all-star bonus, he can get a new one.
I don't know what is causing this, but we have seen more bats leave players' hands at the plate this year than I'll ever remember.
Line shot. Got a chance. They counted it, though. They did.
At first here in the top of the 6th inning, and the Angels leading 4-2. This pitching change is sponsored by River Spring Living. See what makes life at River Spring Living special. Schedule a tour at riverspringliving.org today. So, one time through the order, that's it for Herget. He's fine. Gave up 2 singles, no walks, no strikeouts. And now Davinsky, who is showing flashes of dependability. Now, let's see if he can keep that going against Lamont Wade Jr., left-hand batter. And the first pitch on the way is a breaking ball inside and low, a sweeper. And it's 1-0 to Wade, who has struck out and flied to center. He has now made 8 consecutive appearances for the Mets without allowing a run, covering 8 in the 3rd innings. The 1-0 foul back to the screen. 1 ball and 1 strike. He's been around. He's actually been with the Angels among many other teams. 10-year career for Davinsky. The Astros, the Diamondbacks, the Phillies, the Angels, the Rays, and now the Mets. Well, he's pitched pretty well here. The 1-1 on the way. Swing and a miss at a good changeup. And it's 1-2 to Wade, the number 8 hitter in the order. Switch hitting Luis Rengifo is on deck. Angels 4 runs, 6 hits, no errors. The Mets 2 runs, 3 hits, and 1 error. Alonso holding against O'Hoppe at first. And the 1-2 pitch. In the dirt with a change. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Mentioned Logan O'Hoppe is a local kid. He was born in West Islip on Long Island, right near where the Long Island Ducks play. Now makes his home out on the island in Sayville. 2-2 pitch. Swing and a foul right off his foot. So Wade will hang in with a 2-2 count. You know, there were another group of Long Island Ducks who didn't play baseball. They played hockey in the old Eastern League. Played at an old, cold barn in Comac. But that league, the Eastern Hockey League, that was really the model league for the movie Slapshot. What a classic that was. 2-2 to Wade. Now the pitch, swing and a foul, going to the backstop.
As I've said on this broadcast many times, we go to Blockbuster. And the Blockbuster. I'd say, what about this one? And my dad would grab it, he'd look behind, and he'd see the rated R, and he'd go, not quite yet. And that was last week. Boom.
Well, I'm sure you figured out a way.
I haven't done it yet. It's on the list.
Really? Here's the 2-2 to Wade. Swung on and fouled and held by Alvarez, strike 3. So Davinsky picks up the strikeout. O'Hoppe still at first, 2 away, and Rojifo, who's 2 for 2, coming up. Of course, Paul Newman, star of the show. The Hanson brothers putting on the foil. And it all kind of ties in with this WWE theme here at Citi Field tonight. First pitch on the way to Rengifo, taken high, ball 1. I am of a much different generation than the current wrestling fan. I go back to the great Bruno Sammartino, Crusher Verdue, Chief J. Strongbow. Them boys could wrestle. The 1-0 with a runner going, swung on and missed. The ball eludes Alvarez, rolls onto the grass behind home plate, and O'Hoppe is at second with a stolen base.
Chief who?
Chief J. Strongbow. One of the more entertaining wrestlers of his time. Moondog Maine from Crabtree, Oregon. You got to learn about these guys. They were the greats of the game back then. And it was all on the up and up, of course. 1-1 to Rengifo with O'Hoppe at second. And a changeup is high and away, 2-1. I wouldn't expect those names to ring a bell. I mean, we're talking 50, 55 years ago.
Well, they rang the bell all right.
Yeah, and had their bells rung. Ray Morgan, the great announcer. 2-1 to Rengifo. The pitch, swinging a roll at third, waiting on it, Beatty. He's got it, slings it over to first in time. Side retired. No runs a hit, no errors, 1 left. In honor of the great Bruno Sammartino.
What is it that kind of got you hooked as a foodie, so to speak?
My dad was really into food when I was a kid. He traveled for work and he would go to places all over Europe and stuff. He was in sales and I feel like he would come home and try and cook the things he ate overseas. And so as a kid, I was exposed to a lot of like stuff that kids aren't usually exposed to. And so I credit my dad for that.
Labor Employer Cooperative, ELEC, is hard at work.
Well, if you look at the infield, they just came out and put, Diamond Dry everywhere except where McKinstry needed it right here.
Wonder when he realized he broke his chain. With an all-star bonus, he can get a new one.
I don't know what is causing this, but we have seen more bats leave players' hands at the plate this year than I'll ever remember.
Line shot. Got a chance.
Well, we go to the bottom of the 6th inning with the Angels continuing to lead the Mets 4-2, and it'll be the middle of the batting order for the Mets against Tyler Anderson. His only mistake has been the 2-run homer by Brett Beatty in the 4th. Pete Alonso 0 for 2 leads off. And the first pitch from the lefty is a fastball upstairs for ball 1. Alonso has a home run, one of the 247 in his big league career against Tyler Anderson, whose 1-0 pitch is swung on and fouled into the mid of the catcher O'Hoppe. And it's 1-1. McNeil and Vientos to follow here in the home half of the 6th inning. It's held to 3 hits. 1-1 pitch. Little bit low with a changeup. 2 balls and 1 strike. Angels bullpen is quiet at the moment. Looks like the Mets are getting somebody up. Is that Brooks Raley? I think it's a lefty. It's the only one they have in the bullpen. 2-1 pitch. Little bit low. Ball 3. By the way, Rico Garcia is not on the active roster yet, but probably will be in the next day or so. Reacquired by the Mets. Bullpen shuttle that goes across MLB. 3-1 pitch. Alonso fights it off. A pitch on the hands, and he fouls it off into the camera well next to the Mets dugout on the first base side.
That is indeed Brooks Raley out there for the Mets.
He was very impressive in his season's debut a couple of days ago against the Reds. That was really encouraging. 3-2 to Alonso. Here's the pitch. Way upstairs, ball 4, and the Mets get the leadoff man on. So, trailing by 2, that means they'll bring the tying run to the plate as Anderson has walked his 4th batter.
1 through 4, Nimmo, Lindor, Soto, Alonso. 0 for the night. Nimmo has walked, Alonso has walked. It's been these hitters, McNeil, Vientos, and Beatty, that have had the success against Anderson. This has been the spot for the Mets with the bright lights all night.
Well, let's see if they can do something here. McNeil, a single and a walk. First pitch, hit hard but foul. A 1-hopper off the screen next to the Mets dugout. And it's 0-1. McNeil, the center fielder tonight. Centers Healthcare wants to remind you that you're not just care, they're care that moves you. CentersHealthcare.com. Angels 4, Mets 2. Mets have the tying man at the plate. Moncada in tight at third, and the 0-1 off the outside corner with a slider. 1-1 to McNeil. Pitch count is where it should be, actually a little low in the technical sense for Tyler Anderson. He's at 71 now here in the 6th inning. Lefty against lefty, the 1-1. McNeil swings and misses at a slider. And the count now a ball and 2 strikes.
That was a hanging slider, and Jeff knew that he just missed a big fat pitch. That's him trying to drive the ball, which he started doing last year, but he just missed it.
Roddy Jose Fermin is getting up in the Angels bullpen. 1-2 pitch. Swung on and missed, strike 3. Went after a changeup, badly fooled. Way out in front. McNeil down on strikes. Strikeout number 3 for Tyler Anderson. So 1 away. Mark Vientos coming up. Some scores from Food Bazaar Supermarket. Shop local, eat global. Red Sox and Phillies remain tied 2-2. They're in the top of the 9th inning in Philadelphia. That's a half game back of the Phillies. Here's Vientos. First pitch changeup is low, ball 1. Zach Wheeler went 6, gave up 7 hits and 2 runs, striking out 10. Bo Bichette, 2-run double. Blue Jays lead the Yankees 4-1. Bottom 6 in Toronto. The 1-0. Fouled by Vientos. I think that one rung the mask of O'Hoppe. But the Angels catcher is no worse for it. The count 1-1. Pittsburgh behind Paul Skeens is something. Leading Detroit 3-0. Top of the 8th. Skeens wins 6. 1-1 pitch. Bouncing ball wide of third to his left. Moncada up with it. Hurls it across the diamond in time to get Vientos as Alonso goes to second. Not hit hard enough for Moncada to feel that he had a chance to initiate a double play, particularly because that ball had a little hang time to it. So Alonso at second with 2 out, and it'll bring up Beatty, who hit the 2-run homer, accounting for the Mets' runs his last time up. In that game in Pittsburgh, Skeens went 6, gave up 3 hits, struck out 6. And the Cubs lead the Royals 4-1, playing the bottom of the 3rd at Wrigley Field. Right here, Angels 4, Mets 2, with 2 out, last of the 6th inning. A lot of these interleague games, you know, you need to sort of manufacture the kind of energy and electricity that we see in other games. Beatty takes high, 1 ball and no strikes, and really with the exception of Beatty's swing, which produced the 2-run homer in the 4th inning. It's a big crowd, but it's been a quiet crowd. It's been a game where there hasn't been a whole heck of a lot going on, save for the 1 big inning by the Angels. The 1-0 to Beatty, taken for a called strike, a cutter at the knees, and it's 1-1. But Beatty woke this crowd up in the 4th, and he'd love to energize them again here in the 6th, representing the tying run at the plate. Good outing so far for Tyler Anderson. 1-1 pitch. Beatty fouls a slider straight back to the screen. Advantage Anderson, 1-2, with Francisco Alvarez on deck. So now the video board showing the crowd meter on overload, and that's why you hear the crowd reacting.
And the meter goes away. And
yeah, exactly.
So does the crowd.
And, you know, I'm sure some of that is PA-induced, too. 1-2 pitch. In there, strike 3 called. A fastball that Beatty thought was either down, away, or both. But at strike 3, side retired. 4th strikeout for Anderson. No runs, no hits. A leadoff walk and 1 left into the end of 6. Angels 4, Mets 2.
You're one of the most humble players in the league, Cancer, and you always choose to celebrate your teammates' achievements over your own. You might see their contributions as more impactful to the greater good of the team, but they also need you. Instead of shying away from compliments and cheers, listen closely to see how much the game really needs you.
City Field. Glad you are part of we. It's the Angels 4 and the Mets 2. It's just one big happy family here. Kumbaya as we begin the 7th inning. Angels bring the top of the order to the plate here. Keith.
Thank you, Howie. First pitch from Chris Davinsky is a breaking ball strike to Zach Neto, and a count 0-1 on the Angels leadoff man, who has walked in 3 trips. This is the 4th time through for the Angels offense. They scored 4 runs on 6 hits. 0-1. Line to left field, a base hit between short and third. And Neto was on with a leadoff single against Davinsky. Nolan Shotwell is coming up. He's a lefty, and the reason I'm emphasizing that, looking into the Met dugout, they did have Brooks Raley up at points during that bottom of the 6th inning, when the Mets could have maybe tied the game or taken the lead, but Raley has since sat down, so it is Davinsky out there. This is part of managing the spot with your bullpen. You're down. You're not down big, but you're trying to pick the right times to use the pieces. Quick throw to first, and Neto back in standing. You can't just throw Diaz every night and Garrett every night and Brazoban every night. You can eventually get him into a game like this, but trying to squeeze every last out of Davinsky first. Here's the first pitch to Shotwell. He misses outside with ball 1. Met offense has been held to 2 runs on 3 hits, and really outside of the Beatty home run, crickets from the Met offense. 4-2 Angels. Trout on deck. 1-0 to Shotwell. Runner goes. Pitch taken outside. Alvarez throw down to second. The tag. Hey, got him at second base. And Lindor put the tag on, is pointing at home plate to say, nice throw, kid. Albie back in the major leagues throws out Zach Neto, one of the top base stealers in the American League. And there's 1 out in the 7th. The throw went toward the first base side of the bag where the runner was coming from. And so Lindor to reach to get it, but the reception allowed the glove to move into the hip. And so the throw was really kind of perfect. So 2-0 to Shotwell. Pitch missed inside. Check swing, appeal to third, but he did not go. And the count 3-0. So put out at second goes 2-6. That's amazing what the Mets have done behind the plate. Of course, Alvarez The throws to second base weren't really his biggest issue going back to the minor leagues. 3-0. Missed outside. Davinsky walks him on 4 pitches. So that puts the Angels right back on the bases. That's a 1-out walk, and Mike Trout is coming up. Alvarez can throw somebody out. Torrens has been one of the best at throwing him out. And even Hayden Sanger, when he's been in there, has been throwing out some base runners. The Mets made a conscious effort this year to be better at the running game. And so there's a meeting on the mound. Here comes Alvarez, Lindor, Alonso, Acuna, Beatty, the whole gang. Now we'll pause 10 seconds. Station ID.
This is Odyssey Mets Radio on WHSQ and WCBS-FM HD2, New York.
At Citi Field alongside Howie Rose. My name is Keith Rapp. Top of the 7th inning. 4-2 Angels. Angels at the plate. They have a runner at first base and 1 out. And Mike Trout up. Davinsky, who in that 6th inning got the final 2 batters, is working on batter number 5 right here. He went back-to-back outs of the 2 batters in the 6th and has allowed the first 2 technically to reach, although there's 1 man left. So 1 out, looking for a double play ball, but Mike Trout stands in the way. Right-hand hitter, Davinsky from the belt. Spin throws to first. Shonowell back in standing. Angels don't run a lot. Shonowell only 4 out of 5. The only guy that really runs is the one that was just cut down at second, Zach Neto. Now 18 of 26 with the caught stealing. First pitch to Trout. Hit him right at his side, right at his hip, and Trout gives a look out to Davinsky like, bro, we were teammates. What are you doing? So a hit by pitch makes it first and second, and Davinsky, who was great in the 6th, just can't find it here in the 7th. Single walk hit by pitch. And again, if not for that caught stealing, could be worse. Trout actually snuck his elbow and his elbow guard on that elbow back toward his rib cage as he deflected that pitch off of his body. So the elbow guard is better than the rib cage. And here's Taylor Ward, who, like many of these Angels, can hit it out. 4-2 Los Angeles. Ward has doubled in a pair tonight. He is 1 out of 3, but he's hit 23 home runs. Davinsky deals. Breaking ball misses outside. Ball 1. So that is now 6 in a row out of the zone. The 4-pitch walk to Shonowell, who's at second. The hit by pitch of Trout. And now 1-0 on Ward. And the Mets are getting Brazoban up in the pen. 1-0. Breaking ball, tag foul to the right. Soaring out of play. And it's 1-1. Injury update brought to you by the Rothenberg Law Firm. If you're injured in an accident, the game plan is simple. Just go to injurylawyer.com. Not an injury, but an illness for Jose Budo, who is back in the building today getting reevaluated. He may go back out for another rehab assignment just to build up some strength, but the Mets feel like he's getting close to helping him out in that bullpen. Davinsky steps off and now re-engages on the first base side of the rubber. First and second, 1 out. 4-2 Angels, top of the 7th. 1-1 pitch. Ward lines it over first, into right, down for a base hit. Shonowell getting to third. He'll come home to score. Soto's throw goes to second. Trout goes first to third. Taylor Ward drives in his 3rd run of the night. It's an RBI single to right, and it's 5-2 Angels in the 7th. Now just messing with base runners in this inning for New York and for Davinsky. And that'll do it for his night. He departs having given up a run, but he's responsible for Trout at third, Ward at first. Joe Adell, the righty batter, coming up. Mets were trying to hold till their offense got back into it. And now the hole is a 3-run game. Call to the bullpen brought to you by the New York Lottery. Get out there and play the newest scratch-off games for a chance to win.
What separates you from world-class joint surgery isn't a bridge or a tunnel. You don't have to travel far to get the best treatment. At RWJ Barnabas Health, you can stay in New Jersey, close to home, and be
Well, if you look at the infield, they just came out and put
Departs, responsible for Trout at third, who he hit, and then Taylor Ward, who hit Davinsky for an RBI single the other way. So one out. Alonso holding on the runner at first. Joe Adell, another power hitter, batting. Brazoban fires. Pitch caught on and missed. Sinker down and in, and it's 0-1. Good hard sinker at 96 for Brazoban, whose ERA went from down to up. Has been as low as .90 this year. It's up to 3.91. 0-1. Grounded toward third. High chopper. Glove by Beatty. Runner coming. Throw home. The tag in time. Good play by Beatty. Great tag by Alvarez to cut down Trout at the plate. Adell reaches first. Ward goes to second, but now there's two outs. On a high chop, Beatty left his feet, extended the glove into the air, came down, and then winged one to the plate. And Alvarez able to put the tag on. Great job. So it stays 5-2.
Nice tag by Alvarez, too, because that throw is just towards the first base side of home plate. So Alvarez had to swing around and get Trout. Is put out at the plate on a good play by Brett Beatty, but also credit Alvarez with a nice tag.
So Trout retired for the second out. Still a little messy here for Brazoban. Yohan Moncada, switch hitter batting left, coming up. As we come to you live from the Bob Murphy broadcast booth, proudly presented by Bigelow Tea. Grab a mug and tea proudly. Infield back around to the right. Angels by 3. They've added a run here. Brazoban trying to hold on. Pitch. Missed outside with ball 1.
That's route taken infield a few hours before the game today. Something you don't necessarily see every single day. Used to be de rigueur for a game.
0-1-0 pitch. Check swing and a pitch up. Appeal to third. No swing, says Brian O'Nora down the line. And it's 2 balls and no strikes. Now, Huáscar Brazoban, remember last year when he was traded over? He made his second appearance for the Mets in Anaheim. Gave up a big late homer. 2-0 in for a strike, and it's 2-1. Gave it up to Zach Neto late. Mets lost that game. They ended up losing that series at a time in August where it was crunch time to win games every day. But it taught the Mets a lot about Brazoban. 2-1. Swing and a miss at a sinker, and it's 2-2. They said that game in particular, he took it really hard, really wore his emotions on his sleeve, and carried it with him the rest of the night and for a couple of days after that. And so the Mets realized, okay, we've got good talent here, but we've got to mix the mental with the physical. They'd be pitching some big spots. Set at the belt, 2-2, down and in. So now it's 3-2 on Moncada. Adell at first, Ward at second. Both guys with around average to above average speed are about to get moving here. Francisco Lindor at shortstop looks around to the infielders to let him know base runners will be going. Payoff pitch. Swing and a miss. Got him with a changeup. So Brazoban comes in, limits the damage. Strikeout of Moncada. Big play by Beatty coming home to Alvarez. Angels get 1 and leave 2.
Do you see yourself maybe one day after baseball, like maybe food critic, food writer?
I would love to do that. That's the plan. I've been doing it ever since I was in the big leagues. It's just fun. It's fun to interact with people like the fans, because a lot of my followers are baseball fans. So it's nice to interact with them on a topic that's not baseball. A lot of people seem to rally around that. I mean, who doesn't love good food?
All right, so here's the Mets home jersey. To me, growing up in New York, also a very iconic jersey. The blue pinstripes that represented the Dodgers. Got the orange outline, which represented the Giants, which are the 2 teams that left New York. And then subsequently, the Mets were created. You know, my parents were Mets fans growing up, and this was the jersey that I also dreamed of wearing.
Gosh, we've gone to Sea Dogs games since we were kids.
I've been coming to see the Sea Dogs for the last 30 years. Great experience.
Everybody here is just bends over backwards to help people out and wish the world was like it is right here at the ballpark.
We've always wanted to be more than just a baseball team. We want to be strong, active, contributing members of the community. And I think that effort is seen by the people and the fans, and they want to support that effort.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
We go to the bottom of the 7th inning in Queens. First of 3 between the Mets and the visiting Angels. And L.A. has a 5-2 lead. Alvarez about to lead off. Calls for his time. Certainly wants to take a breath because he sat behind home plate there in the top of that 7th inning. Caught 2 different pitchers. It was a long inning. Angels scored a run. And he made a nice tag on Mike Trout coming home. First pitch to him here. Strike on the outside corner. A cutter from Tyler Anderson, who's still out there. That's 0-1. Anderson is, because he doesn't throw very hard, doesn't strike a lot of guys out. Pitch count is low. 0-1. Line foul, pulling it down the third base line into the netting. And it's 0-2. If he does finish this inning, it's the first time he's gone 7 this year. He's usually pretty automatic to go at least 6. He got really close back in May, 6 2/3. Well, the Mets are about to turn the lineup card over here in a moment. 0-2. Missed in the dirt. That's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Alvarez, Acuna, then Nimmo, which would be the 4th time through. That'd be a lot of exposure. Mets wouldn't mind that, but I'm sure the Angels are trying to guard against it. That's why Reed Detmer's hard-throwing reliever is getting up, one of the lefties. Here's the 1-2 coming to Alvarez. Missed outside, a changeup, and it's 2-2.
Detmer's has been really good lately, too.
Now, one thing about the Angels is that Ben Joyce, the guy that throws 155 miles an hour, the Sid Finch of the Angels, he's hurt, so he's not available. The 2-2, a long hold by Anderson, and pitch misses inside. He held the leg up there. 1-1,000, 2-1,000, and then delivered to the plate. Again, that's that timing mechanism from that little hitch in that front leg. Here he goes again. Payoff pitch. Missed, low leadoff walk. Second time Alvarez has walked tonight. He's been on 2 out of 3 times. And here is Acuna. Now, Detmer's mention is up. He's a lefty. Acuna's a righty, but you have Nimmo to follow. Of course, Nimmo, then Soto are the 2 big lefties coming. Lindor is obviously a switch hitter, so he can maneuver the splits his way. But just giving you some ideas of what's going on in the minds of the Angels brass. Mets down by 3. First pitch to Acuna. Hit hard toward the middle, base hit going into left center field. Alvarez hits second, making his way to third. The throw goes into second. Alvarez to third safely. Luis Angel Acuna with his first hit of the night sets the Mets up with runners at the corners, and the tying man will come to the plate in the 7th inning with nobody out. The only guy out right now is Tyler Anderson. He is done. Ray Montgomery, the acting manager, going to the bullpen. Here come the Mets. Down by 3, nobody out. Pitching change in the 7th, and slow down in action is brought to you by Iservay.
Let's get moving with Centers Healthcare. Centers Healthcare has a different approach to care. Here, you rehab, relax, recover, and go home. Our state-of-the-art technology empowers your rehab journey with us. Healing from surgery now comes with amenities like Starbucks, smart TVs, and personalized recreation. At Centers Healthcare, what matters most is getting you back to the life you had. Visit centershealthcare.com today or call us at 8.
former first-round pick, another guy that the Angels drafted and flew to the major leagues. Struggled a bit as a starter, but has been pretty good as a reliever. He's a lefty, so he's in there to face Nimmo. Alvarez at third, Acuna at first. First pitch, breaking ball, strike, curve. That's 0-1. So because Detmers is a starter turned reliever, he has a lot of different pitches he can offer. He does throw 96 miles an hour, but he can spin it. Third baseman in, middle infielder's back, nobody out. Detmers set, 0-1. Hit him! Now Nimmo wears one, and the bases are loaded. Off of his leg, he goes to first, Acuna to second. They're loaded up for the big guys. Lindor now, Soto on deck. The Mets have him right where they want him in this place, coming to its feet in the 7th inning. They can taste it. Beatty's 2-run home run in the 4th inning, the only runs of the night for the Mets, but they have not had a spot like this yet. Here's Lindor, batting right, bases juice. First pitch, fouled off at home plate, and it's 0-1.
Only 3 at-bats with runners in scoring position for the Mets so far in this game without a hit.
They are 0-for-3. Speaking of 0-4, Lindor is 0 for his last 24. He has popped out to second, third, and flown out to right into this at-bat tonight. Alvarez at third, Acuna at second, Nimmo at first. Nobody out. Pitch. Chopper hit towards short. Neto has it. Flip to second, 1. Rengifo to first. Safe. Lindor reaches a run, scores. Acuna goes to third. 5-3 Los Angeles. That's the first out of the inning. So Alvarez comes in to score. Lindor drives in his 55th run. Has a lot of meat left on the bone here for the Mets. Here's Juan Soto. Lindor, of course, good speed. Able to beat it out. Angels thought about taking a look at it. Will not challenge. Lindor's foot hit the bag as the ball was bouncing toward Shotwell's glove. So now Soto, 0-for-3 himself tonight. Top of the order has been awfully quiet. Mets, though.
The ball eluded Vientos. I got to see this. I'm not sure how that missed it.
It's coming right at his center of gravity, and he made a 90-degree angle with his body. You know, it actually might have grazed the jersey. The Mets may want to look at that.
Yeah, I was looking at the jersey beginning to kind of ruffle in the wind or breeze as the ball was coming, but it looked like it missed it. And obviously the Mets are not challenging, so that's that for that. And it'll be a 2-1 coming. In the dirt, ball 3. 3-1 to Vientos. For me, making his 21st appearance. He's walked 11 and struck out 22 in 17 2/3 innings. But again now, the Angels have walked more hitters than any pitching staff in the major leagues. The 3-1, and that's lined to second, but right at Rengifo, one away. Caught it, chest high. That's how it's gone very often for Vientos. 100 miles an hour off the bat, but right into the mid of the second baseman Rengifo for the first out. So, here comes Beatty. Brett Beatty with a 2-run home run in 3 trips in this game. And then Alvarez behind him. Reed Detmers worked 1 inning, gave up a hit and a run, no walks, a strikeout, and a hit batsman. Moncada tightens up at third. First pitch, swung on and missed. 98-mile-an-hour fastball, and it's 0-1.
Brock Burke, the lefty, getting up in the Angels' pen, and you have Edwin Diaz again throwing in that Mets bullpen.
0-1. Now the pitch, taken low, a slider, 1-1. Remember when somebody coming out of the bullpen throwing 98 would be considered major news? Teams nowadays seem to have about 5 of them. 1-1 the count. Here's a pitch to Beatty. A little bit low with a slider, 2-1. Maybe 2/3 of them know where it's going.
That's why it's funny seeing a guy like Tyler Anderson. I know he's a starter. We're talking about relievers, but he's throwing 87-mile-an-hour four-seamers. It's like an adult men's league out here.
2-1 to Beatty, who can turn it around. The pitch, swinging a high foul straight back out of play. And the count 2-2. And not only can Beatty turn it around, he can turn it around with some serious velocity. He had a home run against Tampa Bay last month. It went off the bat at 115.6. The 2-2, way outside ball 3, just to put that in context. The hardest ball hit by a Met this year. And you get that kind of bat speed against the kind of pitch speed featured by Fermin, it can do some damage. So it's 3-2, and here's the payoff pitch. And it's inside. He missed with a fastball, ball 4. So again, the walks have hurt the Angels more than most teams, and the Mets can certainly understand they're in the same situation among National League clubs. And now the Mets have the go-ahead run aboard with 1 out, and Francisco Alvarez coming up.
Well, he's been patient all night, couple walks in his return, but like we said, we've seen him going crazy with those home runs at AAA. And knowing him and confidence, when he's right, when he's confident, he loves not only a home run, but a dramatic late-game home run. We've seen from him in his short time over the majors.
Well, that would work here. Alvarez got some kind of ovation his first time up. First pitch taken down the middle of fastball at 97, and it's 0-1. Again, Moncada right near the line at third and pretty deep. Pitch. Swinging a high fly ball, pretty well hit to right field. Taylor going back at the track, at the wall. He jumps, can't get it. It's off the wall. It's in play. Beatty hesitated initially, so he's on his way to third. Alvarez is already at second, clapping his hands with a double. But the Mets were unable to score Beatty because he wasn't sure whether that ball would be caught. So he had to take it conservatively and stop at third base. But a well-struck opposite field double, which missed a home run by maybe a foot. And the Mets have runners at second and third with 1 out. Luis Angel Acuna is due up, and it looks like Ronnie Mauricio is going to hit for him.
Oh, the wall in right center field is straight across the Angels bullpen. And when you get to the start of the Mets bullpen, it pushes out just a little bit further toward that Shea Bridge, and that's where Alvarez hit it, just as it starts to angle away. So the wall is further, and if he hit that one maybe 3 or 4 feet to the left, that ball's maybe out of here. He tagged it out toward right field. And you're right, Beatty really couldn't do much there because he wasn't sure with Taylor right under the top of that wall.
So The Angels certainly will have to move the infield in here. And what the Mets need as much as anything, and now the pitching coach, Barry Enright's on his way to the mound, is a disciplined at-bat here. Now remember, Mauricio, in fact, that's not Barry Enright, I don't think. That's Ray Montgomery, and this makes sense because he had the lefty Burke throwing, and yeah, he's going to go to Burke to turn Mauricio around and make him hit from his much weaker side. So the hesitation was to allow Burke a few extra warm-up pitches and wait for Mauricio to be announced. He has been. Burke will enter the game. Veteran lefty Brock Burke, the former Ranger, comes on to pitch for the Angels, facing Ronnie Mauricio. 3 for 26 right-handed, 5-5 game, second and third, 1 out, bottom 8. Here's the first pitch. Fastball over, a called strike. It's 0-1. Mauricio has a propensity to chase. You're looking for contact here. The infield is in. He can bleed one through and give the Mets the lead. But he's a free swinger. And the 0-1. Way outside, 1 ball and 1 strike.
And as Burke may bounce a couple balls in the dirt to try to get that chase, Beatty has to be ready. If it sneaks by the catcher, he has to dart home like Soto did yesterday on that ground ball.
He's at third, Alvarez at second, 1 out. 1-1 pitch. Swinging a bouncing ball to third, picked by Moncada, comes home, the throw is dropped. It's dropped by O'Hoppe. Beatty scores. Holding at third is Alvarez. On at first is Mauricio, and the Mets have taken a 6-5 lead. Well, the Angels, a team that make a lot of errors, 4th most in the American League. They don't execute there. The throw was a little bit wide, and it forced O'Hoppe, the catcher, to lunge a bit to his left, trying to protect an opportunity to get a tag down, but he couldn't make the catch of the ball, and so Beatty scores the go-ahead run. 6-5 Mets. Runners at the corners, 1 out. Now it's Brandon Nimmo.
Good on Mauricio. Just put it in play. Make them make a play, and they could not.
So the first pitch to Nimmo, way inside, a fastball almost nicked him in the elbow. It's a fielder's choice. Assist to the third baseman, and an error. They're giving the error to O'Hoppe. The 1-0 on the way. Swung on and missed. 1 ball and 1 strike. It was not a routine play because it was a wide throw. In fact, it took a little extra time for Moncada to find a grip. So he just let it go. Throw was into the runner. The 1-1 hit in the air, pretty deep to right center. Should get a run home. Moving over Taylor, makes the catch. Alvarez tags. Here he comes. He scores standing. Throw goes to second. Holding at first is Mauricio. Sacrifice fly for Nimmo. And the Mets now lead 7-5. Good at-bats here in this inning by the Mets all around.
I was going to say, too, and you're not really seeing, men, runners in scoring position, the big hit here or there, but the right type of contact, the hard ground ball to the third. That's an offer in the runners in scoring position category. This is not a hit either, but it's a sacrifice fly. It works nonetheless. Situational hitting, despite looking at runners in scoring position tonight, has been good for the Mets late in this game.
So they have taken a 2-run lead, and here is Lindor, and can he break out? He is 0 for his last 25, 4 of those tonight. Throw to first, and back standing is Mauricio. But the last time up for Lindor, he brought a run home with a fielder's choice grounder, and then he stole second base to get into scoring position as the tying run, and he would score on a hit by Juan Soto, who's on deck. First pitch on the outside corner, a changeup, 0-1. So Edwin Diaz, who certainly struggled through a third of an inning and 4 batters yesterday, having been sick a few days before that, getting ready for the ninth in a save situation. The 0-1 to Lindor is low. 1 ball and 1 strike. Well, this will be a solid one if the Mets can hold on here. They were trailing 4-0, and they know the Phillies have won. 1-1 now the pitch. Foul back to the screen. A fastball, 1-2. So Lindor taking a little time outside the batter's box now. Moncada again deep at third. The outfield straightaway. Mauricio, decent-sized lead, but not a big one at first. The pitch. Lindor pops it up. Foul. First base side. Looks like it's going to twist out of play, and it does. Up against the protective netting. So still 1 ball and 2 strikes. Now you look ahead to the ninth, and the Angels will be sending up 2, 3, and 4 in their order. Shanuel, Trout, and Ward. That will be the assignment for Edwin Diaz. 7-5 New York. Mauricio at first, 2 out in the 8th. 1-2 pitch. Swing and a foul, straight back out of play. Off the facing of the second deck. The Angels 5 runs, 9 hits, 1 error. The Mets 7 runs, 6 hits, and 1 error. 1-2. Now the pitch. Mauricio runs on a liner up the middle, caught by a diving Rengifo. He caught it on the backhand before it hit the dirt, and that retires the side. Tough out for Lindor as he lines out to second, but the Mets take the lead, 2 runs on just 1.
Well, if you look at the infield, they just came out and put, Diamond Dry everywhere except where McKinstry needed it right here.
Wonder when he realized he broke his chain. With an all-star bonus, he can get a new one.
I don't know what is causing this, but we have seen more bats leave players' hands at the plate this year than I ever remember.
Line shot. Got a chance. They counted it, though. They did.
Well, we go to the 9th inning, and it is Edwin Diaz looking to pick up the save. It would be his 20th of the year. He was not able to convert a 4-out save opportunity yesterday, really struggling in the outing, during which he was just out of sorts, you could tell. Had no command. He's going to face Nolan Shanuel to lead off, a left-hand hitter, and misses outside with a fastball. 1 ball and no strikes. And make sure stay tuned after the game for the Verizon Mets postgame show. Here's the 1-0. And outside again with a fastball, 2-0 for the latest deals. Drop into your local Verizon store. Shanuel 0 for 3 with a walk. Mets have made some defensive changes we'll tell you about, but here's the 2-0. And it's poured down the middle. A fastball at 96. Strike 1 called. Mauricio stays in the game at third. Beatty goes to second where Acuna had been. Taylor now in center for McNeil. The 2-1 swung on and missed a fastball. And it is 2-2 to Shanuel. Francisco Alvarez had the big double, which helped build the rally in the bottom of the 8th inning. Did a nice job defensively, or certainly has to this point in his first game back. 2-2 pitch. Swung on and missed strike 3. Got him with a slider. So 4 straight fastballs and then a slider, and Shanuel is down on strikes. 1 away. Mike Trout coming up. And we'll make Alvarez the thriving player of the game. Brought to you by ThriveWell Infusion, New York's premier infusion and injection center. Schedule your appointment at ThriveWellInfusion.com. Here is Mike Trout. Good way to face him with a 2-run lead and the base is empty. First pitch. Inside with a fastball, ball 1. And he has hit 4 home runs over his last 11 games coming into this one. So he's still got the power. 1-0 the count, the pitch. Swing and a miss. The power of Diaz at 96. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. The outfield around towards right. Certainly Taylor is a couple of steps the other way in center. 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss at a fastball. So again, 3 straight fastballs to start Trout. He threw 4 straight to Shanoel before he got him with a slider. Let's see what happens here on 1-2 after all the fastballs.
He blew it by Trout. Trout was not catching up to either one of those.
Here's the pitch. Swung on and missed, strike 3. Blew another one by him at 99. 2 straight punch outs for Diaz. 2 out, nobody on. Taylor Ward coming up.
That was awesome. He said, you know what, you want one more? I'll throw it even harder this time. And Trout knew it was coming and still couldn't touch it.
Well, that command that Diaz was searching for yesterday has come back to him after the first couple of pitches to Shanoel. Ward, right-hand batter. First pitch, slider, swung out and missed. 0-1. Ward, 2-run double, RBI single, 2 for 4 on the night. 7-5 New York. The 0-1. Low with a slider, 1-1. Ward trying to get on for a power hitter. Joe Adell. He's on deck. 1-1 to Ward, the pitch. Slider on the inside corner. Strike 2 called. Went back door there on Ward. And now he's a strike away. Diaz ready to go. Brings the hands together. 1-2 pitch. Way over the head of Ward. Goes to the backstop and ricochets right back to the catcher Alvarez. That's a low bridge and a rapid heartbeat for Taylor Ward.
Little Charlie Sheen Wild Thing at you right there with 1 strike to go. That'll scare the life out of you.
Cue the Trogs and Wild Thing. Diaz ready. Here's the 2-2 to Ward. In there, strike 3 called. Put it in the books. He throws him with a slider. Edwin Diaz strikes out the side of the 9th inning, and the Mets have an impressive come-from-behind win. They were trailing 4-0 and have come all the way back to defeat the Los Angeles Angels in the opener of this 3-game series, and they remain just a half game behind the first-place Phillies in the National League East. In the 9th inning for the Angels, good morning, good afternoon, good night, as Diaz strikes out the side. The final score, the New York Mets 7 and the Los Angeles Angels 5. Back to talk about it in a moment on Odyssey Mets Radio, powered by the all-new Nissan Murano.
Joining us